Eastern Cape. So when the docket were taken back, after 3 weeks,
My issue is not with the 118, 121, because my understanding was still that to make up the total of 121,
yes,
3 cases were added from the Fort Hare cases. So what I'm saying is, I don't remember a Mthatha case ever being mentioned. I don't quite see why the Mthatha case would have been part of the Fort Hare cases. So the Mthatha case sounds like it's something new altogether. Do you get me now? So I was just trying to understand where and how the Mthatha case features.
Commissioners, 121 dockets actually is this docket. Is 2 dockets from Tata and 1 from Alice, which was part of Fort Hare. But when the docket were brought, later, the 3 docket, it was Alice and 2 Mthatha. So the 2 Mthatha is this one.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner.
All right, thank you.
Chair, if I may be of assistance, in General Masimola's testimony, he indicated that there was a trip to Fort Hare when there was a directive for them to include it as part of the PKTT's mandate, said there was uproar about a particular murder, which was the Namhla case, and he then requested head office to give that case over to the PKTT. So it wasn't related to Fort Hare, but was added because of a public outcry at the time they were there to address the Fort Hare issues.
Thank you, thank you.
General, you then deal with the stalling of investigations that you noted at paragraph 31. Can you explain what you mean by stalled investigations?
Commissioners, by stalled investigations, I just want to illustrate that the 121 dockets, they were stalled for some period. The oldest docket is from 2016, where suspects were identified through Section 205 Sapuna, but the suspects were not arrested. And then in the big inspection report or inspection matrix or schedule, the last entry on this docket, I think it was, investigation was done on 2023. In this report, commissioners, I was just highlighting to General Sibia the outcome from, I didn't take all the 121 dockets to put them here. I was just highlighting, like 2016, we are now at 2025. But the last entry in the docket, it was 2023. And then the next one was this one. This 2016 is Harding case, if I'm not mistaken, from the inspection report. And the other one was no evidence of investigations conducted, is some docket from 2016 until 2024. Senior public prosecutor and director of public prosecution instructions were ignored, not complied with. Forensic ballistic reports are outstanding for a lengthy period of time. Section 205 Sapuna reports are not analyzed. They are there in the docket. When you receive a Section 205, you have to analyze so that you can make the linkages of the suspect together with the crime committed. So it doesn't serve a purpose. You receive a Section 205 from the service provider, you put it in the docket. So you have to go through and analyze it so that you can come up with the linkages. Cases are not enrolled because of insufficient evidence. So in these instances, you'll find that suspects are arrested prematurely. You take suspect to court, but there's no evidence to link. That is why they are not enrolled.
General, what you've done from paragraph 29 and the same in paragraph 30, you are very specific about the number of dockets that are affected by what you've identified as shortcomings. And in paragraph 31, you've so far identified 31.1, and I think you say it's a Harding case. So it's clear there that you're talking about one case, one docket, let me say. The balance of that, 31.2 up to 31.6, you don't say, and maybe you should be specific if you can, because right now the impression is it's a general picture. You were dealing with 121 dockets, and one doesn't have a sense of where you say investigations were not conducted from 2016 until 2024. How many dockets are we talking about? Is this a widespread problem? Is it an exceptional problem that you picked up? And so on up to point 6.
Commissioners, in this one, I was just giving a synopsis. Actually, from 121 docket, it is a widespread where most of the investigations were not conducted. I was just highlighting the few. So some of these, there are commonalities. If I take the 31.3, Senior Public Prosecutor and Director of Public Prosecution, instructions were ignored. Maybe from 121, you will find 10 or 15. So here I was just highlighting the shortcomings of what is happening in the 121. But the whole document, this one, the matrix, it is indicating, there's a column which shows hiding case and then comments by the inspection team from my office. And then actually, it doesn't mean the officers in the PKTT never gave instructions. They did also give instructions. Some of the shortcomings which we have identified or the team identified comes from the very same officers who gave instructions. For example, analyze section 205, analyze section 205. Nothing was done also there. So other inspections or outcome come from this new inspection team. They saw other things which the same officers never came across, but this day contained in the docket. So I was just showing to a large extent what is happening in the docket by then. Because of commissioners, when you do inspection, by then you'll get, I will go to Western Cape, more or less I will get the same. Not when we do this inspection, we were criticizing or trying to point a finger to the PKTT. When we are inspecting, you will come up with similar findings in some other dockets. I just want to bring this to the attention of the commissioners.
Commissioner Baloyi, we can, with the general, prepare a supplementary to deal with exactly which cases. We do have the complete schedule. Is that correct, General?
It's correct, Commissioner. We do have the matrix here.
Then, General, at paragraph 32, you deal with the Namhla case and a directive to immediately start investigating. Can you explain what happened there?
Commissioners, the Namhla case was investigated prior from my office by Lieutenant Colonel Odendal. So during October 2023, the docket was taken to the very same Namhla docket. There were 2 dockets attempted, and then the murder one. They were taken to the PKTT. Then when the docket came back, General Kumalo informed the sister of the deceased that the docket are back to our office. But before that, General Kumalo explained, I'm using General Kumalo as a divisional commissioner, and then who said that he's a project manager. I'm going to use, because I engaged with the sister of the deceased. She also told me the very same story, that when the docket were, before they were taken to our office, General Kumalo explained to the sister that they identified a motive and they were supposed to go through with the takedown of the target. And then the target applied for an interdict against the investigation. So there was an interim, there was an interdict, let me say, there was an interdict against the investigation, but it was dismissed by the Mthatha High Court, I think this year, January or February. And then later, when they were still busy again now to make the takedown, Commissioner, now we are speaking things of last year. I think it was somewhere October. The docket was taken 2023. They were busy with whatever investigation. Then last year, when they were supposed to conduct a takedown, they identified was the motive and the target. There was an interdict. It was dismissed this year. General Kumar told the sister that when they were supposed to do now is another takedown this year, the docket was recalled by General CB. Said they couldn't conduct a takedown this year, even last year, because of the interdict. So the sister called General CB complaining as if we are taking them as a family for a ride. Then General CB gave me the number of the sister. I took this docket from when they were still busy with the inspections. I took this docket, gave it to Captain van der Berg, because he was familiar with this docket. He used to work it with Colonel Odenda. And then I took it from him, but he was attending a lot of high court matters. Then by that time, I had two members whom I deployed in Quebec. They were investigating the insurance matters, which is very prevalent in Eastern Cape, especially in Quebec. Then I took this docket so that whilst they are in Eastern Cape, they must conduct investigation in this docket. Then the sister, through that explanation, she was happy. Then she communicated with Colonel Kenen and Mapeto. They were now the new investigating officer of this matter. So whilst they were also investigating, that's when now the docket now taken back to KZN. I was just explaining here what transpired of the Mtata case, then Namklawan. That's the whole thing in paragraph.
Does that general not illustrate the problem created with the taking of dockets? Because now they are supposed to execute the takedown, but they don't have the docket with them. So that takedown never happens because they don't have the docket.
It never happened because the PKTT, they are the one who identified the target. So I was asking myself, when the interdict is dismissed, but there were two months lapse for the docket to be recalled by General CB, why the takedown didn't take place? Because they've identified most the target last year.
You're talking about now the interdict is dismissed in January. And
Yes.
your question is, in February and March, why did they not execute the takedown?
Yes, because they told the sister, that's what the sister is telling me. She understood the interdict after the attempt to make the takedown. Now she's asking, the interdict is dismissed by January, Feb. Why now why they didn't effect the arrest or make the takedown before you from National, you requested the docket. Now the docket with you are going to start afresh now. So now the docket with these two kennels is taken back again KZN. I don't know whether it's still in KZN or where is the docket now.
I'm with you.
General, just to clarify, the dismissal was in February.
It was Feb, okay. Thanks for that.
And this is February when, 2025,
2025 commissioners.
after the decision to disband the PKTT was made.
Yes, after that directive of the minister.
And then, General, at paragraph 33, you speak about General Mkwanazi's media briefing and some of the statements he made there about the dockets. Do you want to elaborate on this?
Commissioners, if I can read my statement, this paragraph 33. During General Mkwanazi's media briefing on 6 July 2025, he indicated that 5 dockets had warrant of arrest that had been issued and that the dockets are gathering dust at the head office of General Sibia without being given the necessary attention. And I said it's not true.
Why do you say it's not true? Because this related to whether there were any investigations taking place. Is that not so?
Yes, Commissioners.
So what this meant was the dockets are sitting at head office with no investigations going on. So it was in that sense that General Mkhwanazi was saying that the dockets were gathering dust. So why do you disagree with that? Because no investigations were taking place.
Commissioner, before the investigation was supposed to take place, we have done the inspections. I think it's part and parcel, even though it's not physical investigations of the docket. But by mere investigation, requesting the funding, it shows that we needed to go and do
But General, you've just agreed that what General Mkhwanazi was talking about was the fact that no investigations were taking place. So inspections of dockets and so on do not go to the question of actual investigations. So in that sense, the dockets were gathering dust. Why do you not agree with that?
That's the explanation which I'm giving, Commissioner. The docket were not gathering dust because this docket were only 3 months here with us, approximately, maybe 3 months. And then in the month of, they came March, and then April, there were the itineraries completed. When General Mkhwanazi refused the docket, the National Commissioner said that General CBA must use his own discretion. So also the inspections which we conducted, it shows we were doing something in the docket.
General, you should not take this personally. It's not you being criticized at all, and let alone personally.
Okay.
What General Mkhwanazi was talking about was that no investigations were taking place. Is that not so? That's what he meant in his media statement. Is that media briefing, rather? Is that not so?
Commissioner will take that.
So
That the investigations were
in
never
that,
conducted.
In that sense, the dockets were gathering dust. That is what General Mkhwanazi meant. Do you accept that? You see, General Mkhwanazi's statement would still have been true even if someone, maybe a general worker, would pick up the dockets and dust them off every day so that there isn't literally dust on them. But they would be gathering dust in the sense that they were not investigated. That is all that General Mkhwanazi meant. Do you accept that?
I will accept that, Commissioner,
Thank you.
if you say
Thank you.
Tim.
Thank you.
And then General, your reference is made at paragraph 34 to the criticism that there were 5 warrants of arrest issued in the docket, but you there talk about what your audit found. Can you explain what you mean there?
When the team conducted the audit, commissioners, they found 2 warrants of arrest agreed to by the prosecutor and magistrate on 2nd October 2024. It was in Dwendwe case 127 of 10/2023. These warrants of arrest were never executed. They were there in Dwendwe dockets, but they were never executed. And the commander wrote that the suspect must be circulated. The procedure, as I know, it is when the investigating officer received a signed warrant of arrest, actually it's not supposed to be in there. You don't put it there in the docket. You receive a warrant, you have to go and execute. He must proceed to execute the warrant by first tracking and tracing the suspect or suspect. If there are no leads regarding the suspect whereabouts, the investigating officer would then complete an SAP 55 for purposes of circulation and send this to the Criminal Record Center for further circulation in the database of wanted circulated persons.
Can you please explain the concept of circulating a suspect? What does that mean?
Commissioners, in this Ndwendwe, there's a warrant of arrest in the docket. So the commander, instead of egging the investigating officer to trace the suspect, then when we went through the diary, it never indicates where the suspect were traced. The main purpose of signing a warrant of arrest is to execute. Execute meaning you must go and trace the suspect. So this one, it came, is attached, and then doing the case, and the commander just say circulate. How can you circulate a suspect who was never traced? So
It's exactly that circulating that I'm interested in. What does it mean to circulate a suspect?
Okay.
How do you do that?
Okay, Commissioner, when we circulate a suspect, you complete this SAPS 55 for a purpose that there will be a hit if the suspect is arrested somewhere. Then in the system, because now it's captured in the system, it will be a hit. Then the investigating officer in that particular, he will inform this one that your suspect is arrested here, come in. That's the main purpose of circulating.
Thank you, thank you.
General, and then you deal with one other docket at paragraph 35, where there was an unsigned warrant.
Commissioners, in this one is still warrant of arrest. Furthermore, there was one docket where the warrant of arrest was completed by the investigating officer, but not signed by the prosecutor or a magistrate, meaning the warrant was never issued. So it's a warrant of arrest J50, completed, but not signed by the prosecutor or magistrate. So it's just a J50 there in the docket. I'm just responding to what General Mokwanas was alluding that there were 5 warrants of arrest which were imminent. We delayed because docket were gathering dust. That is why this warrant of arrest were never executed. So we found these types of warrant, the 2 which were signed, the other one where it was not signed. Those are the only warrant which we found in the dockets.
And General, earlier you explained that one of the purpose of doing the inspection was to identify low-hanging fruit so that if there's anything that needs to be done urgently, that can be attended to. Is there a reason why these ones where there were either a need for circulation or perhaps getting the warrant signed, why those weren't given priority while the administrative processes for getting funding were going on?
Actually, commissioners, we planned it in that way from the onset. When they were doing inspection, then they're bringing me some heads up. I even suggested, how about maybe before we look into the funding, we look into our own monies, the one which I'm having, then we go and execute on especially these 2 warrant of arrest. So that, at least because you can see they are there, and they were issued last year, October, the 2nd of October 2024, if I'm not mistaken. They were issued last year, now is this year. They've never been executed. We thought it in that line that these low-hanging fruits, if we got money, we're going to start first, like the one which I mentioned, where I said 23 suspect were witness identified suspect. Those were the first dockets which we wanted to start with, actually.
So General, the question still remains, why wasn't this done if that could have been done while you were waiting for the big money issue to be settled?
Commissioners, when we look into our coffers, especially my budget, we didn't have enough money to embark and conduct this investigation. We wanted to go there, but because of money, because finance office, they are the one which will guide you. Immediately when you write there that this docket come, you have to outlay what is happening. This docket come from the PKTT. They all know that there's money being allocated to PKTT. Then we have to explain. That is why now we took this route of requesting for an extra budget.
So, General, these dockets, at least the 2 that you've given dates for, the October one, October 2024, we know there's a period of about 2 months before the PKTT is disbanded. You are saying in that period, in that window period before they were disbanded, these warrants should have been executed. in that period?
By the PKTT.
Yes, I understand that. You're
yes,
saying
Commissioners.
in that 2 months period.
Yes, before, yes.
Then the PKTT is disbanded on the 31st, at least that's the directive. So for all intents and purposes, as far as the minister is concerned, it seems that from the 31st of December or from the 1st of January, there's no PKTT to speak of. I guess that's why General Sibia instructs that the files must come back, the dockets must come to Johannesburg, to Pretoria rather. Now, what that means, and this speaks to an earlier point by Commissioner Kumalo, that because of this decision, we know now that from January up to whenever these dockets were returned to KZN, these 2 warrants were never executed. On your explanation, because you were waiting for a budget.
Yes, Commissioners.
Thank you.
General, just to complete the point, it was also not possible for you to speak to your provincial counterpart. I think is it Major General Gopal?
Yes,
who-
Major General Gopal
in the
Longobos.
same component, especially for the urgent matters to be attended to.
Commissioners, really, we never communicated with them. This is the outcome of the inspection, and then we never communicated. Up until we finished by 30th May, we have never communicated and brought to their attention that we found 2 warrant of arrest in the docket. How about maybe you expedite? We never communicated with them.
General, we're going to move to the next topic, being the allegations of defeating the ends of justice. And there you speak about a visit. You first talk about the funding request that was sent. Do you want to explain what happened with that funding request? That was sent to the National Commissioner to request funding for these investigations.
Maybe,
Commissioners,
General, before you answer that, just keep the question in mind, but what I'm going to ask you is related in a way. The information note that we looked at, MCM2, that we looked at earlier, under recommendations, you've got 2 recommendations, and the one is the funding issue recommendation, and then the first one, though, is that you recommend that the dockets be returned to KZN for investigation. And then that's the first recommendation. And then the next recommendation you make is for funding, that a dedicated budget be given to the national team. Why, in your thinking, was that the first preference, your first preference, that the dockets be returned to KZN? Well, why was it your first preference?
Commissioners, in this one, I was recommending that if maybe we are not going to get the budget, let the docket go back to their where they belong, because the PKTT already got funding, or they are budgeted, inclusive of this 121 docket, which are under investigation. And then the next recommendation is the one of the funding from the National Commissioner.
How did you think about it? I mean, at this point, this is a memo in June, or an information note in June, so we know that the PKTT rather is disbanded by this point, at least according to the Minister and General Sibia. It is disbanded, and yet you are saying the dockets must go back to KZN. Can you just explain how you thought it would play out? And I do understand you're saying because the PKTT were already familiar with the dockets, but it is now disbanded.
Commissioners, when I wrote this, the PKTT is not disbanded. According to me, it was never disbanded.
Okay.
It was partially, because it was the first phase of investigation where the dockets were brought. But they are still operating, and they were still operating whilst I was in there. When there was no formal directive for us to say that now the PKTT is no more. So I was just making these recommendations that if maybe the National Commissioner then can't portion some budget for us, then this docket, they must go back to the PKTTB because they were still operating.
Because practically they were still
Yeah,
operating.
practically, they were still operating.
Thank you.
General, so at this stage, the funding request had not been considered by General Sibia and it hadn't been approved by the National Commissioner. That's what you say at the top of the page on page 14. And you then further say that you could not investigate until you received the additional funding.
Commissioners, the first information note, the one which we're discussing now, it was revised because it's myself who signed it. Then later it was sent back for ratification. But the signed one, myself, I was not in the office, I was in another meeting. It was signed by Brigadier Tata on my behalf. So this one is the first one where myself, I've signed it, but it was never signed by the Divisional Commissioner because it was sent back from the office of the Divisional Commissioner for some ratification. We just put it here to show that actually we started this request for funding on the 23rd of June.
And then, General, you, earlier in your testimony, if you look at the information note MCM 3 at page 17, which would have been the initial one, and the corrected one is at page 19, MCM 4. You'll recall I asked you about paragraph 2.1 in a different document. That would have been the summary of the audit findings that you provided about the background section where you say that Lieutenant General Sibia was the acting commissioner. This is found again at this information note, which you prepared in June 23, and then again in the revised one, which was signed by Brigadier Tata on the 1st of July.
Yes, Commissioner.
And is it that at this point, your team was operating under the impression that General Sibia was the acting National Commissioner at the time?
Commissioners, I explained earlier that in all the correspondence, we wrote General Sibia as acting. He also brought to our attention, to my attention, that actually it was not himself that he was acting. Actually, it was General Musikiti. But in most of the information note and the reports, we wrote General Sibia, but not to portray or to bring to the commission that General Sibia is the one who was acting. Actually, it was General Musikiti. But most of the reports, even the National Commissioner signed one of the requests for funding, where we also mentioned that it was General Sibia.
Thank you, General. And then you deal with a request, a visit and a request to take photographs of the dockets, and you were told about a case. At paragraph 38, can you summarize the events? You've set them out in a lot of detail in the statement. So if you can summarize what happened there with Brigadier Kunen.
Commissioners, can I proceed with paragraph 38, reading it? Or just to summarize?
Just to summarize.
Commissioners, on the 22nd of July, I think it was 2 days It was 2 days after the proclamation, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go through this paragraph, then I will summarize it, Commissioners, with your permission. On the 15th of July, I received a call from General Mangali. He is the component head of Criminal Record and Crime Scene Management, National Office. Then he said that he received a call from General Mkhwanazi that he must avail a photographer for standby, and then he must take photos of the dockets, and then we must also furnish statement to Brigadier Kunene. Actually, let me speak. General Mangwale mentioned only about the taking of the photos. Then the following day, I communicated with Brigadier Tata because the docket, they are lying in Brigadier Tata's floor, second floor in the strong room. Then Brigadier Tata also confirmed that he communicated with Brigadier Kunene. So Brigadier Kunene left KZN on Monday, and then we saw him the following day on the 16th, I think it was around 11 o'clock. It was myself. Before Brigadier Kunene came, I was with Brigadier Tata and Colonel Mguli, but Colonel Mguli got some commitment work, related commitment. Brigadier Kunene came, and then he explained the purpose of his visit. He said that General Mkhwanazi instructed him to come and take some photos, and then the strong room must be considered as a crime scene. We must condole of that strong room as a crime scene. Then I asked Brigadier Kunene, crime scene, what crime is it committed when you condole? Because we have been going through that. If it's a crime scene, we have already tampered with it. I don't understand the logic of condoning of the strong room as a crime scene. Then he said this is the instruction which he was given. Then from there, through our engagement, then I said, what is the interest of taking photos? Then he said, no, he was just given the tasking by General Mkhwanazi. And then from there, I said, let me call General Sibia, because General Sibia by then was still in office. I called General Sibia. General Sibia said that, let me find out from the commission. I don't know whom did he call. He said, let me find out from the commission whether photos of those dockets can be taken or whether you can also give statement. After about 10 minutes, General Sibia called back. The phone was on the speaker. We were the three of us. Then General Sibia explained that the instruction is, or the advice is, photos can be taken of those dockets, provided the National Commissioner authorize. And then we must make an OB entry to that effect. From there, then I told Brigadier Kunene,
and General, when you say that General Sibia inquired from the commission, you mean the Madlanga Commission?
he is from Madlanga Commission.
Okay, thank you. And then thereafter,
Do we know who was contacted within the commission?
General,
Were you told, General?
Commissioners, I don't know who was called, but General Sibia said that he received an instruction or an advice. If dockets need to be taken photos and for us to give statement, the National Commissioner must authorize that instruction. Then Brigadier Kunene was not happy with the explanation of General Sibia. And then from there, he said, hey, it seems now it's going to be a fight between himself and General Mkhwanazi. Then I said, you take instruction from General Mkhwanazi. I'm also taking instruction from the Deputy National Commissioner, General Sibia. So let's wait. Maybe the National Commissioner will call and maybe he will authorize, because by then I learned later that General Mkhwanazi was with the National Commissioner in KZN there was a protest march there. Then Brigadier Kunyane left. I went to my office at around 4:05. I was with Colonel Machabela, whom I met from the lift. He was greeting me. Then we went to my office. The National Commissioner called. Then he said that there's a certain investigating officer who's experiencing some resistance in the building. Then I said, who is that investigating officer? Then the National Commissioner said, no, General, we just need some photos. Then I said, General, who is the investigating officer? So when he mentioned the photos, I recall now is Brigadier Kunen. I just reminded General, said, General, now the National Commission. I think you are mentioning Brigadier Kunen. He is the one I had an engagement earlier with pertaining to photos. But now they saying you must give, I called General Sibia, and then he said he inquired from Matlanga Commission that permission must be granted, you must authorize. Then the National Commissioner said, it's fine, General, I will authorize that one. But it never came to authorize that photos can be taken. So Brigadier Kunene, photos were never taken. I even gave feedback to General Mangali.
And General, are you aware that at this point, General Mkwanazi had opened a defeating the ends of justice case for the manner in which the dockets were taken?
I was not aware. I was not aware, Commissioners, that there was a docket opened by General Mkwanazi.
Thank you, General. And then you then speak about the investigation that was conducted by Lieutenant General Patekile. Can you also summarize then what happened there, your interactions there with the General?
Commissioner, I was called by General Patekile, the Provincial Commissioner of Western Cape. It was on the President made the proclamation on the 13th.
It was on the 21st of July when you got the call.
21st. No, I was just adding 7 days to that proclamation of the President to get the exact date. It was on the 21st of July.
Yes.
I was called by General Patekile in the evening on Sunday, and then he said that he wanted to see me on Monday at the college. Then I said, pertaining to what? He said, pertaining to the 121 dockets. He's been appointed by the National Commissioner to conduct the investigation. Then he wanted to know actually what is happening with those 121, how did they come? Then I gave him the whole story, the way I put it in my statement here. And then he said, okay, we'll discuss at length tomorrow. Then I said, I will come. Then he told me that he's coming with a team of 5. Then I also told him I will come with my team, meaning Brigadier Khoboitata, Colonel Mguli, and Colonel Mashili. And we went to the college. We waited for them. Then he came around 1 o'clock. He was with the Deputy Provincial Commissioner, his Deputy Crime Detection, General Makashalala, together with Brigadier Truta.
I think you pronounced it correctly, but the writing there is wrong. The X should be a Q. General Makashalala, not Makashalala.
Or not
The
X.
The X should be a Q.
Commissioner will rectify.
But you pronounced it correctly.
Thanks, Commissioner. And then they came with Brigadier Truta, the Provincial Head Legal Service. And then General Patekile explained the purpose to all of us, the 4 of us. And from there, he wanted to know actually what's happening with this 121 dockets. Then I advised him to start first with Brigadier Khoboitata because he's the one who collected the docket with Colonel Mguli. Then he explained, then later it was myself. I explained exactly what transpired and the way I put it in my statement that docket were brought to General Kumalo. General Sintumula arranged the collection, came to our office, conducted inspections, the reports. I even gave him this matrix, this thick inspection. We made copies for himself, General Matrashalala, together with Brigadier Truta. And then later, I wanted to know when he said he was investigating. Then I said, General, you say you are investigating. What are you investigating, actually? Then he said, Motsepe, you know what, after this, whatever you told me, you must depose statement to me. Then we want to see whether there was no defeating the ends of justice. Then I even asked him, who's defeating here? Myself, Brigadier Kopoditata, General Sintumulo, General Kumalo. Then he said, no, I won't mention who's defeating. I'm going to make a report to the National Commissioner. It's up to him with my recommendation. Then if he agrees, then the recommendation, then there will be a defeating. So during that time, I don't know, actually the defeating was against you. I was never consulted later as a suspect or somebody who's involved in the defeating of dockets, of this 121 dockets. Then we finished statements on the 24th. Then I gave General particularly my statement.
And then, General, you note that on the day you deposed to the statement, you also received notification from the National Commissioner that the funding approval was denied.
Commissioners, that's true. The National Commissioner didn't approve on the 22nd. Then the file was brought to my attention on the 24th that the National Commissioner didn't approve.
What reason did the National Commissioner give for not approving the funding request?
The National Commissioner, if I can just say without reading it, he mentioned that the PKTT is already budgeted. And then what are the dockets doing here at the national office? And then the docket must go to the station of origin as agreed. Then me, I don't know where does this agreed comes from. Maybe they've discussed it before that through the disbandment. Actually, the docket must go to the station of origin as they agreed in their executive management meetings. But he wrote it in that way that docket must go back to the station of origin as agreed.
General, page 21 of MCM4, just to be fair to you.
MCM4.
MCM4, page 21. Your recollection was spot on, but just to be fair to you, you were referring to what is written there by the National Commission.
Yes, commissioners, I was referring. Must I read it? Okay, commissioners. The National Commissioner didn't approve. Then he cited the following reasons. We can't spend double on the same function. Political killing tax team is there already doing the functions. Why are dockets at HQ? As it was agreed that some dockets from the team be returned to station of origin.
And then, General, to complete then your team's possession of the dockets, you talk about what you hear from Major General Mohale on the 25th of August about the return of the dockets to KZN. Can you briefly address that?
Okay, thanks, Advocate. Commissioners, on the 25th of August, we were preparing ourselves to attend an Interpol conference in Cape Town. I was approached by Major General Mohale. He's one of the component head with myself at the division. He's responsible for crime investigations, the so-called general crime. Then he's presently the acting divisional commissioner because General Sintumula is acting deputy national commissioner for General Sibia. Then he informed me that there was a virtual meeting between himself and General Mkwanasi. And then I must make available a brigadier pertaining to the taking back the dockets to KZN. Then I said, I don't have a brigadier. Khopotata was on leave because Brigadier Khopotata is the one who started the collection. Then actually he was supposed to be the one who attend when they are taken back to KZN. Then I propose I will give him two colonels, the one who were also involved with the docket. Is Colonel Mguli and Colonel Mashile. And then he said that the meeting will be tomorrow. They confirmed the meeting will be tomorrow on the 26th. Then on the 26th, the meeting did take place. And then when myself I was departing to the airport, he came to my office. Then he said, General, yes, we did attend the meeting. It's confirmed. The docket must go back to KZN. Did you make copies of the dockets? Then I said, no, we didn't, but we were thinking of making copies, but we have never made copies, but it's not a problem. I will arrange before I leave that copies are made. I called Colonel Nguli and then inform also Colonel Mashile that they must ensure that these docket copies are taken and then to be handed over. The arrangement was they must be arranged. The arrangement was made that they must be handed to one of the PKTT commanders at the college. I understand it was Lieutenant Colonel Kumalo. So I left for Cape Town, and then whilst I was there, I keep in touch with them just to check whether how far are they with making the copies. They completed, and then the dockets were handed over, and then they were taken back to KZN. In charge, the same as they were taken from crime intelligence by the Brigadier Khopotata and General Sintumule, and they were taken back to KZN on the 28th of August.
Now, can you just assist the commission with this? From 28 March 2025 until the 27th of August 2025, are there entries in any of those dockets that the investigation was progressed further? In other words, there was progress from when the dockets were first taken to when they were returned to KZN?
Commissioners, in the diaries, the entries which was done was of the inspecting team when they were inspecting, just alluding maybe like Section 205 to be obtained, witnesses, but there were no entries of investigation, as no investigation did take place.
So it was the audit, basically. The only entries were that an audit has
the one
taken
of the inspection,
place,
yes.
and these are the shortcomings that were
Yes.
picked up.
Yes.
But the murder cases themselves were not investigated.
Only those two of the one of Eastern Cape, the attempted and the murder was taken by Colonel Kenan and Mapet whilst they were in Eastern Cape. Is the only docket where they wrote their investigation, what they have done so far with that limited time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioners.
And General, do you know that in that docket, the Eastern Cape one, the investigators had only gotten an opportunity to introduce themselves to the family and to the previous investigating officers?
Commissioners, I'm aware. If I can elaborate further, they even went further to, I think it's 3 station, where the investigating officers who were investigating this docket, they were killed, 3 of them. So they went to those stations. I forgot the stations, but they are mentioned in the dockets because of the information where Colonel Odendal was pursuing. We were supposed to get statement from those 3 investigators who were conversant with this matter of Namka, only to find that when they were busy with investigations, they were killed. So these two colonels, they went to those stations to collect the murders of those deceased investigating officers, to investigate together with this one of Namka, because they were killed because of, they do have first-hand information of who killed the deceased.
Were these the original investigators before the docket was handed over to PKTT?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Commissioner, let me rectify. The original was Colonel Odenda. He knew about these three investigators who were killed. So there are still now, there are 3 murder cases in Eastern Cape, where now the new investigating officer, Advocate Powe, was just saying to bring to the attention of the commissioners that in the docket of Namka, there's only an entry which introduced themselves to the sister of the deceased. Now I'm alluding further that even though maybe it's not written in the docket, they went as far as to those 3 stations to collect those 3 dockets, because those 3 dockets where investigating officers were killed were supposed to be investigated together with this main docket of Namka.
Maybe let me ask the question differently. The 3 investigators that were killed were not PKTT investigators?
No, they were not.
Thank you.
They were not.
General, and then now we are going to move to the last topic of your statement, and that's the leaked audit report to the Sunday World. So there you start with the call that you receive from Brigadier Mate, alerting you to an article that would be published. Can you explain what happened there and your response to Brigadier Mate?
Commissioners, actually the call was made on the 16th, not the 17th. Brigadier Mate called me on the 16th. Brigadier Mate is the spokeswoman of our National Commissioner General, Masemola. She called me that a journalist by the name of Situmo from Sunday World, he needs some input pertaining to 121 dockets. Then I said to Brigadier Mate, I don't have any inputs because I don't report to the journalist Situmo. And then I don't see any need to input to him about this 121 dockets. And then he sensitized to me that it seems the following day on the 17th August, which is Sunday, it seems there's a leak report of my report to them, and they're going to publish. That is why they wanted some inputs to me. Then I said that the report from myself, I didn't give the report to any newspaper or media or any journalist. I don't know what's happening. Then Sunday, Brigadier Mate called me. Then he said he even sent the article via the WhatsApp to my phone, WhatsApp. I went through it. Then I asked her, how come, what's happening here? Then he said, hey, General, I don't know. Then she asked me, who did you give this report? I said, the only person whom I gave is General Sibia. I gave him not electronically, it was a printout. Then immediately I phoned General Sibi. I said, General, I gave him the whole story. That General Brigadier Mate called me on Saturday. Then here's the newspaper clip now. Then he said, let me go and get the newspaper. So around 11, he called me. He said, yes, I see the leak, I see the newspaper. Then I said, how come that report appears in the Sunday World? Then he said, he also don't know. Then I said, you are the only person whom I gave. Did you share it with somebody else? Maybe that person is the one who leaked this in the newspaper. Then he was adamant that he never shared this report with anyone.
And then it was quiet about this leaked report for a while until you received a call from the National Commission on the 15th of September. That's at paragraph 53 of your statement. What was your interaction there with the National Commissioner?
Commissioners, on the 15th of September, I did receive a call from the National Commission Inquiry about the report. I even said, our general, you know now about this report, it was most 17 August, didn't Brigadier Mate brought it to your attention? Because initially, when we were engaging with Mate about, I even asked her, didn't you bring this to the attention of the National Commissioner? She said, I did send the National Commissioner, but he never responded because maybe he was busy. That's why he never gave me the response to inquire further from you. And then the National Commissioner asked me about this report. Then I explained to him, I'm aware I was brought to this league by Brigadier Mate on the 16th of August. It's already a month now. Then the National Commissioner said that, do I have a report with me? Then I said, yes, General, I will check. I think I still have that report. Then on the 16th, I was attending a management meeting which was chaired by General Sintumule when I received the call from the National Commissioner. He was waiting for that report. I explained to the National Commissioner that I've tasked my secretaries just to check in the system so that we can bring, but they said that it seems when they were typing, they didn't save it. Then I said, okay, I will excuse myself from this meeting and go and look for that report in my office on the table. Then whilst we were engaging with the National Commissioner, he said that, am I aware that now I'm the star witness that General Sibia leaked the report? Then I said, General, me, I'm not the star witness of the leakage. I'm the witness that I gave General Sibia this report. He's the only person. I gave him in a print form. I didn't send it electronically. Then before I left, excusing myself, I told General Sintumole. Then she said that they were discussing this matter a previous week they were in Cape Town. Actually, she also advised the National Commissioner that they must conduct an investigation on how did this report leak into the Sunday World.
So you are saying you did not type the report yourself?
I couldn't get that, Commissioner.
You are saying you did not type the report yourself?
No, it was not typed by myself.
Your PA typed it?
Yes, my secretary.
So actually then, it was not just you and General Sibia who had access to the report. It was you, your PA, and General Sibia.
Yes, Commissioners. Maybe if I can explain my PA. When we were busy typing this report, the one which I put that I dispute what General Mukwanasi said, my PA sent it to the office of General Sibia, the secretary there, because we were busy with this report. Then I called my office, just sent it to General Sibia's office. Then that secretary that side put only, infused that paragraph which said that I dispute what General Mukwanasi was saying. So now from there, I got the copy, I gave the copy to General Sibia. So when a National Commissioner was requesting a copy, that's the copy which I was saving. And then from that meeting from General Sintumole, I went to the National Commissioner, then I gave him that copy. So what Commissioner is asking is true. The person who typed, it was electronic, but it was printed copy to General Sibia, and the other copy, I did have another copy.
Thank you, General.
So in fact, General, your PA and General Sibia's PA had access electronically to this report that ends up with the newspaper.
Yes, but I asked them about the leakage. They were also amazed. They said, General, they can investigate, they can take our gadget. Mine also, I'm saying, can be taken. It can show that I didn't send the report to the Sunday World.
Thank you, General.
So any one of the four of you could have read
Yes,
it.
could have.
It's actually any one of the three, because your family say it's not you. So it's either the two PAs or General Sibia. If we accept you saying you did not.
The general
Yes,
has
me,
already
I didn't.
agreed. The general has already agreed to the
No, Commissioner.
possibility of any one of the four of you.
No, Commissioner, but just to affirm or confirm that I didn't leak.
Thank you,
That
thank you,
one is for
General.
sure.
Thank you, Commissioners. And then at paragraph 56, you confirmed that you did hand over the physical copy that you had to the National Commissioner.
Yes, I did give to the National Commissioner, and then the Commissioner wanted to know why is it not signed. Then I said it was just a draft, sort of executive summary. I was discussing with General Sibia so that they must give me further directive to that one.
And then to conclude, General, in paragraph 57, you clarify your position as regards to the 121 dockets. Do you want to read that into the record?
Commissioners, yes, I concluded by saying the docket were not gathering dust, and by saying that an audit was conducted and the dockets would have been investigated once funding was approved. I had no involvement in the disbandment of the PKTT, nor did I have any involvement in the handing over process. Once the dockets were under me, I, of my own accord, tasked my team to conduct an audit, and if funding had been approved, the dockets would have been investigated.
Thank you, General. Unless there's anything else you'd like to say, that concludes your testimony.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Commissioners.
Let us adjourn and resume at 2 p.m. Let's adjourn.
SAFM to 48031. That's 48031. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 106.6 FM in Bloemfontein.
On the top stories, Major General Mutsipe speaks on the PKTT disbandment and former Bangladesh Prime Minister sentenced to death. For SAFM News, I'm Ondelambana, and a very good day. The SAPS component head of the Serious and Violent Crime Division, Major General Mary Mutsipe, says she did not agree with the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team. In December last year, Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, who is on leave of absence, disbanded the KwaZulu-Natal PKTT, from which 121 dockets were seized. Major General Mutsipe has told the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria that the minister should have first consulted with all stakeholders.
Even if the minister had the authority to disband the PKTT, he had to first consult with all the relevant stakeholders, which would have included me as the component head responsible for serious and violent crimes. I also do not agree that the PKTT should have been disbanded before the upcoming elections. It is a well-known fact that KZN has the highest incidence of political killings, and there's usually a spike in politically motivated killings before elections.
Newly appointed Forestry, Fisheries and Environment Minister Willie Okamp says his immediate priority is to create jobs. Speaking after his swearing in at the Union Buildings in Pretoria.
It is not true that you can't have this portfolio being an economical portfolio. We've got forestry, we've got fisheries, we've got our national parks. All of them contribute towards the GDP of this country. And this is what we must do. We must find the balance between what the communities want and what is in the best interest of nature, and to have that sustainably done for many years. I'm looking forward to working with all stakeholders.
A defense witness in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial, Absalom Zungu, says one of the accused, Bongani Danzi, is his relative. 5 men are on trial for the killing of Meyiwa in October 2014. Absalom Zungu, who is also the father of key state witness Constable Sizwe Zungu, was responding to questions from Defense Counsel Sipho Ramusipile.
You've also testified, Mr. Zungu, that your mother's surname is Ntanzi. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. We are blood relatives. She is not from other Ntanzi clan. He is from where I am from. My mother was born and then from the Ntanzi family. So we are related. We are blood relatives.
Cape Winelands District Municipality's fire services says its teams are actively fighting several fires across the area. The mayor, Dr. Elna van Sklicht, however, says the fires in Montagu, Didorens and at the Deutschkloof Pass near the N1 have been extinguished.
During the early hours of this morning, 2 new fires were reported. The first occurred on the Horsley side of the Slank Valley between Rawsonville and Horsley. Fire teams assisted by local farmers were able to steer the fire driven by strong winds away from infrastructure and back to the veld. With the benefit of daylight, teams resolved to proceed with the planned management of this fire. The second fire ignited in the shop above the settlement outside Kundal in Franschhoek. Fire crews responded promptly and the fire is currently moving slowly.
A tribunal in Bangladesh has sentenced the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to death, this after finding her guilty of crimes against humanity and of ordering security forces to kill protesters. Hasina is being tried in absentia, having fled to India after a student-led revolt ousted her from power. The BBC's Arunaday Mukherjee has the details.
Sheikh Hasina, along with her former Home Minister and police chief, were found guilty of allowing the use of lethal force against protesters and failing to prevent atrocities against them. The court read out all charges against the accused, detailing the scale of the violence in the police action. The deposed leader denies all charges in the crackdown, where the UN says hundreds were killed.
Recapping the top story, the SAPS component head of the Serious and Violent Crime Division, Major General Mary Mutsipe, says she did not agree with the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team. I'm Onde Lambana for SAFM News Headlines at 1:30.
This Monday evening at 7 on My Design Rules. It's all about comfort and style as the duos take on The Lounge. With a fully open plan living area to work with, they'll have to design with intention if they want to bring the kitchen, dining and lounge together into one cohesive space. And each week is one step closer to the grand prize of up to 600,000 Rand in cash. That's Monday evening at 7, repeat Saturday at 2 and Sunday at 4 p.m. Only on S3.
This November, SAFM proudly presents the 3rd annual lecture.
I do want to say that in the public service, there are also checks and balances. The fact that people may not have applied doesn't mean it's not there.
SAFM invites you to our 3rd annual public lecture, delivered by Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, Dr. Geraldine Fraser Muleketi. The theme of the lecture is confronting inequality, corruption and unemployment.
let's hold everyone accountable and to standards, whether you have a GNU or not.
The lecture will take place on the 27th of November 2025 at the Indaba Hotel, Spa and Conference Center in Four Ways, Johannesburg. Secure your seat by emailing us at rsvp@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
I mean, I want to say, how you doing? But siyanqanqazela this side. It is cold. It is cold, in the words of former MP Umbuyiseni. Kuyabanda. It is cold. It is cold in Johannesburg. I don't know what the weather is like on your side of the country, but it's wet here. We've had rain throughout the entire weekend, and we had hectic rain, in fact, over this weekend. I thought some trees and some infrastructure would be down, but not too much damage from what I saw leaving the house today. But it is cold, it is rainy, and I know that the weather is pretty much the same in most parts of the country. So over the next hour, we are going to try and raise the temperature just a little bit as we take a break from that Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. But you do know, as per usual, we're going to kick off with a little bit of a recap with our SABC News reporter, Usibahle Mota. And then we're going to catch up with the folks at Digify Africa and see about them expanding digital skills, the digital skills footprint to Da'a with the launch of the Digify GPS program. So we'll find out more as well as to what that program entails. And then we're bringing you a bit of an opportunity here, the Global Sound Exchange Masterclass and Competition. We'll learn more about that, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap up the show by catching up with Ikebuletu Foundation's Group CEO, Dr. Nomfundo Zondo, and see how Ikebuletu Foundation is bridging the digital divide in rural KZN through computer skills training. Hope you're having a good day thus far. We're counting down now. We're counting down. It's 5 days until G20, but you can't actually. I don't know if you're in Joburg or if you've been in Joburg over the last couple of days. You actually cannot swing a bag in Sandton without hitting somebody from an Asian persuasion country, or hitting somebody who's from India, or hitting somebody who's from Brazil. Hearing all the accents in Sandton over the last couple of days, all the accents have descended into the country as we count down to that main event that's taking place over the weekend. It is at 10 past 1 o'clock on the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. SAFM commemorates Disability Rights Awareness Month under the theme Celebrating 30 Years of Democracy, Creating Strategic, Multi-Sectoral Partnerships for a Disability-Inclusive Society. SAFM supports and works tirelessly towards equity and equality for those with disabilities. Empowerment is key. Let us break the barriers and improve the quality of life for those with disabilities. Our efforts towards a better life for those with disabilities can only be impactful when we do so together. We do not tolerate any kind of discrimination. Disability Awareness Month 2025 on SAFM 104 to 107 FM nationwide, leading the conversations that move us. Bridget Masinga, weekdays on the Full Circle.
All right, it's just gone 10 past 1 o'clock, and we're going to catch up with Usibahle Mota as we do every day, recapping what's been happening at the Madlanga Commission. And last week, we heard Witness D allege that suspended EMPD Acting Chief Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi ordered him to dump the body of a suspect killed by EMPD officers in a bid to cover up a murder. And this morning, we've been hearing evidence from a new witness, Major General Mary Mutsipe, who is a high-ranking officer in the South African Police Services. Especially, how are you doing today?
Good afternoon to you, Bridget, and to the listeners for having
Well, we always appreciate the time with you. Let's recap. Firstly, maybe let's start off by where we left off last week with Witness D and some of that rather shocking evidence that was shared at the Madlanga Commission.
Yes, I think witness case testimony is something that we know left us smacked. Just the details, because it, he had to testify before the Matanga Commission. And basically, his testimony is one that had corroborated the testimony of Chief Jablani, as well as police chief, had initially both stated that, there were officers, three officers who were in a unit that was sort of created by a brigadier to investigate the ID. One of the, charges is murder, among others. And I think what Witness D has actually done is picture of what this murder case was, where it happened, and how it happened. He takes us to a house in Edmonton, Brakpan. The members of the were also there, you know, when we were told that house to come and assist, saw some police members, EMTD members actually were wrong, right? And subsequently, about how the person in Brakpan was prosecuted and tortured in the building after he had made mention of the fact that he had used 500,000 in collection. Actually, that money, he alludes to the fact that the money was back after he had passed on, this man had passed on, as well to come and see the scene regarding this matter. And unfortunately, so fortunately, was who was tasked with going to dump this body either in a mine shaft or in a dam to be up for a dam. And other details of how some private security officials actually get appointment letters by Brigadier Penalty and members and look at the test of readers who had initially stated he was finding that whenever he she the officers and she the rules and regulations if you're that the police is the one who stops with all his appointments. So I think he has really painted a vivid about what had happened, what had led to him at the
And then today, we've seen in the morning a new witness taken to the stand, Major General Mary Mutsipe. What do we know about her?
So basically, she was testifying about the ratio 121 says that from the ticket was they were given her on office. And there was really no movement. She was directed from General Sheriff to investigate some of these, documents. Her understanding is when they have come from period in for Southern, the audited. And I mean, they're finding the commission is pushing her to sort of, the first focus that General Sheriff are calling but you're finding that, there wasn't that she that, she instructed them to do. And we are finding over the commissioners that they don't understand why when there was a political investigate this okay, there was another team that was appointed by General Sheriff also mandated to investigate the and sort of speaks about the challenges we encountered of the you all know it, but you found now that of course the process of the rules about getting their mama up and find it was important to get it finding from the kitchen. But I think in all honesty we before with her testimony that none of the investigators and some of them had been either in Gauteng, so we are finding those challenges. There was no with these documents, investigating.
Now, today we've got two witnesses taking to the stand. We're now done with Mary Mutsipe, and after lunch, there's going to be a new witness coming through at the Madlanga.
Yes, definitely. So there are new witnesses not being yet announced or named. But, what we are expecting is for 121 see whether or not she corroborates some of the testimony that was, presented by Mary or not. I mean, we are next week to keep in line with the has been for the much.
Very interesting developments. And of course, the other breaking news that we saw today is the reinstatement of the EMPD Media and PR Unit head, Lieutenant Colonel Tipa, who testified last week. Very emotional testimony as well that she detailed last week around the attempt to her life.
No, definitely. I think, as painful as the testimony was, and as he was, I think a lot of even on just found that, patient of the patient standard and other members of the team to other units. And while on paper she was still wasn't despite the painful from there is some good news. Position was appointed into the role.
Yeah. Usbahle Mota, thank you for the time. That was the SABC News reporter, Usbahle Mota. As per usual, on a daily, she gives us the roundup of the Madlanga Commission. It's fast approaching 20 past 1 o'clock on the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, right here on SAFM. Let's take a quick pause and then we'll come back on the other side with Digify.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Introducing South Africa's most affordable way to get hearing aids. At Specsavers Audiology, you can now get a pair of hearing aids from as little as 599 Rand per month. Hearing clearly shouldn't be a luxury. Enjoy life's moments from 599 Rand per month. Test your hearing today and join the conversation with Specsavers Audiology. T's and C's apply.
Afternoon Express is proud to be nominated in multiple categories at the 3rd Annual National Film and TV Awards taking place on Saturday, the 22nd of November. And you can add your voice by voting. Visit nationalfilmacademy.com, register and vote for Afternoon Express in the Best Entertainment Show category, Palisa Tembe for Best TV Presenter, and myself, Ayanda Jitabete, for Best Female TV Personality and Celebrity Personality of the Year. Voting closes on the 20th of November at midday.
Bridget Masinga is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
All right, we're going to catch up now with Digify Africa. We are talking to Mpho Singwe, who is the project manager for Digify Africa. And we want to find out a little bit more about their expansion of their digital skills footprint to Da'a with the launch of the Digify GPS program, which is the General Practitioners Program. How are you doing this afternoon, Mpho?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you for the time. We appreciate it. I guess first and foremost, there's always somebody who's not familiar with the organization Digify Africa and the work that you do. So perhaps a little bit of background context there. And then you can tell us more about the General Practitioners Program.
Okay, so Digify Africa was started around 2014. Came from an organization where we sort of Africa and moved to digital marketing around the time when we noticed that there was migration to digital marketing and that things were well. So we are basically to continue digital marketing on the internet side, work other, other areas.
Mm.
So with South Africa, we want to include a program called the GP, which is another digital marketing training program. So skill essential market economy. After a successful round, money for the time, people get skills, support business. The Northern Cape was trying to expertise, understood safety pathways to move forward, and South Africa participate to create digital skills and empower youth with
Mm. In fact, that's going to be my next question to you to say the expansion into Da'a. What was the motivation behind that, and how are you hoping that the program better aids youth within that particular community?
So like I mentioned before, like areas like the Northern Cape aren't always looked at as an opportunity to expand skills for uh youth areas will be big. So we are looking at local businesses, which are the backbone of our local economy, often like for regional markets. So ITC addresses uh, young people.
Mpoyo, sorry to interject. You're just dipping out every few words there. I'm not too sure if it's a speaker thing or perhaps if you just stand in that one corner without even moving a hair. Let's see if we can get to your crisp audio again.
Oh,
No, it's we're gonna try and see about shifting lines with Mpho. We were just dipping out of her audio there every couple of words as we find out more about Digify Africa's expansion into Da'a. From what we've learned thus far, this comes after some successful training rounds in Gurman and Kimberley, where they've decided to now empower young people in Da'a with practical digital marketing and entrepreneurial skills in order for them to thrive in the digital community. I want to also find out from Mpho as soon as we can get her back on a clear line as to the 10 weeks of the program. Mpho, I'm told you are back. Now, I know that the program is a 10-week long and it's a free digital skills boot camp. Run us through what the 10 weeks might look like for those who are participating.
Okay, so during the 10 weeks, as introducing the state of the marketing, yeah, using other aspects of it. So, paid advertising strategies, as well as um, yeah, paid advertising strategy, as well as like cybersecurity and so forth. So those are the skills that we're trying to introduce to the young people, the 20 young people that will choose the program and
Hmm.
and also trying to get them interested in like freelance work and supporting local businesses.
Yeah. You're specifically targeting youth 18 to 35 years old, which is the youth demo. And these are youth who must they be youth already with some kind of traction in business, or can they also be youth who aspire to launch their own ventures?
Yeah, so we try not to be too stringent on what kind of person comes in, but
Mm-hmm.
we have to be between 18 to even just um, those are we just want interest and as well as going into the communities and anyone who talent and catering those those small scale can eventually grow their economic base.
Mm. Now, tell me also a little bit about, and I read somewhere that from week 6, if I'm not mistaken, participants will
Yes.
be paired with a small business from the area.
Absolutely.
So now that we're working 28 people, we paired with each business, then we can, one person could be doing strategy, the other person could be doing community for each. Recently, we had a workshop with small businesses in the community to find out what their needs are and how it is that we can curate curriculum according to those needs.
Mm, mm. You obviously done now. Yesterday was the last day for recruits into this program. And then when does the program officially begin? I'm presuming it's not going to begin now because we're going into the holiday season.
Yeah, so we've adjusted our application date. We have moved it on to the 23rd of November. Applicants have another opportunity, those who have just learning about it now, until the 23rd of November to sign up. And the process will start January
Mm-hmm.
until March, for 10 weeks.
Okay. All right. So you've extended that recruitment period until the 23rd of November. And folks can go to digifyafrica.com, right?
Yes, so you can go to .com, also onto our social media platforms. And that's
Okay, cool stuff. We appreciate the time with you. That was Paul CEO Paul Siweng, who is the Digify Africa project manager. Did I break Paul's surname there a little bit? My apologies, Paul. Thank you so much for the time. And digifyafrica.com is where you can go if you want to be a part of this program. It's specifically targeting young people within the Dar area. So if you are in Dar, or maybe you come from Dar and you're not necessarily based there, I didn't actually ask about that. But maybe you want to run your business out of there, so you want to plow back into home. Who knows? Maybe you could still be eligible for as long as you are 18 to 35 years old. Try your luck and see what happens. Digifyafrica.com is where you can go, and you have the rest of the week to submit your application because they've now extended that application until the 23rd of November. We're going to hit a quick reset by way of catching up with the headline news in about a minute. And then after that, we're going to come back and we're going to look at another opportunity for you. And this time around, it's the Global Sound Exchange Masterclass and Competition. We'll find out what that is all about. And if you in the rural KZN area, Icteboletu Foundation is bridging the digital divide in rural KZN through computer skills training. So we'll find out from the CEO of the Icteboletu Foundation group around that particular program, and also see which areas they are focused on in rural KZN and how you can tap into that if you qualify for it. It is 1:30 on the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, the SAPS component head of the Serious and Violent Crime Division, Major General Mary Mutsibi, says Police Minister Senzo Mchunu should have consulted all stakeholders before embarking on the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team. A new lawyer that the Legal Aid Board has appointed to represent one of the three Radzuma siblings accused of killing two Samu leaders in Limpopo has withdrawn from the case. And a Bangladesh court has sentenced ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to death. The verdict has concluded a months-long trial that found her guilty of ordering a deadly crackdown on a student-led uprising last year. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
SAFM supports a litter-free South Africa. Play your part in keeping our surroundings and environment clean. SAFM, leading the conversation. Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
All right, we are going to catch up with Fariz Kalima, who's a multifaceted artist, producer, and creative visionary. And we're talking the Nyatsi Creative Academy, which is presenting an exclusive talent discovery event combining Grammy Award winning expertise with emerging artist development. Ooh, this sounds interesting. How are you doing, Faris?
I am well. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much. I guess first and foremost, it's always good for us to get the backstory behind Nyatsi Creative Academy.
Yes, yes. So, I came here for the second time a few weeks ago, and I had a vision of, just trying to come here and bridge the gap between America and South Africa. I'm like well aware of how the opportunities here to get in the music industry are a little bit more difficult than they are in America. So I have a lot of friends in the music industry. I have a lot of friends who have done major things, worked with major artists in the music industry, and just want to be that bridge. So that's how we came up with the Creative Academy. Being able to work with young creatives in South Africa and get them direct access to the music industry in America.
Yeah. So talk to us about it's a 1 day experience from what I've gathered, right? From
Oh
from
no, no,
no?
no! This is not a 1 day experience. This is that's opposite. This is a
Okay.
lifetime experience. They're going to come to the academy. The academy, they're going to get job placement, and even after that, we'll still be able to connect with them and make sure they're fine. It will remain that connection forever. It's for a lifetime. It's just bam, bam, raw. That's a major problem in the industry. People get in the industry and the industry chews them up. We
Mm,
don't want that to happen with anybody that comes out of the creative academy.
okay.
So that's yeah, so it's mentorship. Once they come out, now you have a mentor for life.
So perhaps it's best then for you to tell us how the program is going to roll out by way of from submission to selection and then what comes thereafter.
Yeah, so we're holding a competition. After the competition, we'll choose five finalists. We'll be launching the academy officially on the 28th of this month.
Hmm.
That's when we're having the launch of the academy. Um, from that is what the first person that will be inducted into the actual academy. And after that, we'll be having a huge, huge competition in February. That's one that'll be unlimited submissions. The first one, there are limited spots, there are limited submissions. But the second one, we'll be having a huge competition, and from that, there will be official first inductees into academy. We'll have 20 people, and through there, we'll be doing workshops with people that are friends of mine in America. People who are Grammy Award winners, people who are on the Billboard right now. People like Beethoven, Echo Boomin, Max Only, Shallow Beats. These are people that are going to be partnered with the children, and they're going to be doing direct workshops with them. They're giving them experience directly with people from the industry. With these workshops they're doing, they can keep them for their actual songs,
Mm.
for their actual productions and sets that they want to do. Really giving them something that can be put on their resume. So when they go into this music industry, they already connected with people who are accredited.
Yeah. You've partnered up here with South African radio and media personality Linda Sibia, from what I understand.
Yes, yes, he's another one of our major partners. He also has an academy. He's combining that with the Niapi Creative Academy. So he'll be doing the DJ segment. He'll be coaching people and giving them master classes on DJing, and also combining with people from America as well. The people who are bringing over here, the DJs. They'll be doing creative workshops with each other. So he's another one of our major people that we have involved in this.
Yeah. For anybody that is intrigued, where do they go to then track firstly? Because you said there's multiple legs. There's a first leg, and then there'll be another second leg for greater numbers of submission. Where do folks go to track all those relevant submission dates and ensure that they get all the things they need to get in order?
So first thing they can do is follow my page. It's Faris.Kalima, and that's on Instagram. And then also it's Faris Kalima on TikTok. That's EEMAH. You know, so that's on Instagram and TikTok. And then it's Niati Foundation. This is where they'll be able to find the respective link for anything that we have coming up. This is Niati Foundation. This is NYAEFNDAION.org.za.
All righty. Fariz, thank you so much for the time, Fariz Kalima. And we were talking the Nyati Creative Academy there. You heard you can find them on nyatifoundation.org.za. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The Expresso Morning Show has been nominated in 5 categories in the 3rd Annual National Film and Television Awards South Africa.
It all happens on Saturday, the 22nd of November, 2025, at the South African State Theatre in Pretoria. And public voting is open from the 13th of October to the 20th of November at midday.
So visit nationalfilmacademy.com, register, and vote for Expresso Morning Show in all 5 categories.
Then, of course, catch us weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. right here on S3.
Usutu does not mind visitors, provided 3 points remain in KZN. However, Swelele refused to travel to Durban as tourists. They want nothing but victory.
This is the Midweek Premiership. Forever.
Amazulu FC versus Swelele FC on Saturday, 22 November at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 1. Then on SABC radio stations at 3:30 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
SAFM commemorates Disability Rights Awareness Month under the theme Celebrating 30 Years of Democracy, Creating Strategic, Multi-Sectoral Partnerships for a Disability-Inclusive Society. SAFM supports and works tirelessly towards equity and equality for those with disabilities. Empowerment is key. Let us break the barriers and improve the quality of life for those with disabilities. Our efforts towards a better life for those with disabilities can only be impactful when we do so together. We do not tolerate any kind of discrimination. Disability Awareness Month 2025 on SAFM 104 to 107 FM nationwide, leading the conversations that move us. You are listening to The Full Circle.
All right, change of guest. We are catching up now with the foundation manager for Iceboletu Foundation Group, Ayanda Mkoyi, and we are looking at the foundations bridging the digital divide in rural KZN through computer skills. We'll find out more. How are you doing, Ayanda?
I'm very well, thank you.
I'm great. Thank you very much. Perhaps just to give us and our listeners a bit of background around the Iceboletu Foundation, because I think a lot of people are now familiar with Iceboletu from a business perspective. Give us some context around the foundation.
Okay, so the foundation has been around for years, and over the years, number through the youth and also the elderly. We have so many different things that we've done. In particular, the elderly, we've built homes in like other rural areas like Paso, Escort, etc. So any elderly that, you know, living in anyone at that how the floods assisted. And also we have a food garden that speaks directly to our elderly. And the elderly there, what we've done with our Richmond food garden is that we provided them with all the tools and all the seeds they need. Let them work on the garden, so agricultural. And whatever they do harvest, we sell it back to village catering department. And that's how they make their own money and also learn skills. So that is wonderful. And then we're in that part we are chatting of agriculture to more in that part to so that we can help more people in the community. And then with our youth, we start our new club, the new academy, and basically that, I mean, insane with at our new academy because you'll find that they are children from the Njongweni area, and those kids have gone to Czech Republic, they've gone to Hungary, they've gone to Italy just on canoeing. So who knew that, black children were really good at canoeing? They just did a chance, right?
Yeah.
And Equality Foundation provided them that chance to themselves canoeing, and of course it speaks to learning how to swim, safety, and just the holistic development of children in the rural area through canoeing. I think they traveled around the world three times,
Very
so which
interesting.
is quite fascinating, right?
Yeah, I mean, interesting initiatives that you'll have undertaken there, and now you're getting into the computer skills centers, which you guys have already established these across different rural communities in KZN.
Yes, absolutely. We currently have 4 fully fledged, perfectly functioning computer centers, and so they are. I'm clapping them to as one. So you're familiar with these areas, you know that cannot get more rural.
Yeah.
Right. And doing graduation ceremony area. So just now we were in North and Uganda on the 12th of November. And basically celebrating the children there, the learners. Also, Bridget, it's not only just children, it's also adults. We've opened it up to everybody in the community, where they can come and study computers or learn how to use the computer absolutely free. And also they get to come, we've got something called Community Fridays, where the community come and do scanning and copying and printing, whatever it is that they need. If they need to print out their CV, they can come also free. So that is probably one of our flagship projects. So important to our heart, to really help in close to what 500 people in the community for a computer center.
Yeah, I mean, very important work also given the fact that we always talk about, living in the 4IR world is that how to ensure that rural communities are not left behind. So initiatives like this become, central to that conversation because not only are you giving people computer skills, much needed and practical computer education and practical training, but you're also really giving young people in particular an opportunity to access opportunity.
100%. And, that's what we're striving for, opportunity. We've still got 2 more graduations to do in Mtwalume and Brazwana. And those, I mean, the 2 graduations that we've done so far, we've given away laptops to the top 3 students. Now, one can say, oh my word, that's, and, it's really moving to see community members, especially children, just blown away. They're actually just holding a laptop, right? And for me, it's a very painful experience because then it really shows how big the gap is. Because we have and that have never seen let alone anything. So when you experience things like that I've experienced graduation, really, it's an alarm bell more than anything, and it also makes us realize how much harder we need to work as Equality Foundation, but also we cannot do it alone more than anything. How much more we need government, we cannot ignore the gap anymore. And we definitely, as Equality foundation can't call ourselves successful if there are people of our color or in the rural areas suffering so much and have never actually touched, then we're nowhere near the success we talk about or dream about.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair to the work of the foundation, it's about beginning and it's about businesses such as yourselves who are anchored in community, who are also supported by community, realizing that they have a role to play in ensuring that those very same communities are supported, they are empowered, they are educated, and they are elevated from poverty. And these initiatives do speak to that. Now, your goal also is to expand these centers, right? You want to hopefully have a footprint in more than just the 4 communities that you currently are in.
Absolutely. So the mandate is to have 100 computer centers around in rural areas. And that's what we continue to partner with people because it will make it more possible for us to do so, right? So yes, that is our mandate. We're looking to do that. Also, we are then now working on installing different programs so that one can study not only just learn good and the basics of a computer, but now there are different courses that will be on the computers like safety, health and safety, admin, business management. 3 months to 6 months short.
Yeah.
We will then expose the rural areas to that, to those kinds of courses and those relevant educational programs. So, for example, you'll see Bandla and Miltu, they are actually developing the roads quite a lot.
Yeah.
So a program of health and safety would be relevant in that area so that they can actually get hired to be a part of the project, developmental projects that are happening in the area.
Ayanda, let us pause it there for today. But let me do this. Please don't hang up because of the work that you do. I want to pass you back on to my producers and hopefully they can share Digify Africa's contacts with you guys who run skills development programs, digital skills development programs in particularly underserviced rural communities. And perhaps there's a conversation to be had there between your foundation and the work that they do in order to amplify and magnify some of your efforts. That was Ayanda Moyi, who's the foundation manager at Ikebuletu Foundation Group. It is approaching 10 to 2 o'clock. We're going to get into our kids programming now with Kids Corner, and then we'll come back with the top of the hour news.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. This November, SAFM proudly presents the 3rd annual lecture.
I do want to say that in the public service, there are also checks and balances. The fact that people may not have applied doesn't mean it's not there.
SAFM invites you to our 3rd annual public lecture, delivered by Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, Dr. Geraldine Fraser Muleketi. The theme of the lecture is confronting inequality, corruption and unemployment.
Let's hold everyone accountable and to standards, whether you have a GNU or not.
The lecture will take place on the 27th of November 2025 at the Indaba Hotel, Spa and Conference Center in Four Ways, Johannesburg. Secure your seat by emailing us at rsvp@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hello, friends, and happy Monday. Welcome to a brand new week and another exciting edition of Kids Corner. I hope your day has started well and you're ready for a fresh week of learning and fun. Today, let's talk about rules and expectations, the ones we follow every day. What is a rule or expectation you have at home or school that you understand very well? And what's one rule you don't fully understand? Maybe you've always wondered why it's there. Why do you think rules are important and how do they help us get along with others? All right, let's hear from some of our friends while you share your answers with those next to you.
My name is Inzala Mushana and I'm 8 years old. A rule I understand very well at home is to make my bed every morning when I wake up and open the curtains because it makes my room tidy. I think I understand all the rules at home and at school very well.
Hello everyone, my name is Ashley Kabamba. One rule I understand very well is to respect teachers, classmates, and parents. It helps everyone get along and keeps things peaceful. I also understand why we must do our schoolwork on time. It teaches discipline and responsibility. But one rule I don't fully understand is why we can't sometimes talk quietly in class when we finished our work, of course, even if we are not disturbing anyone. Still, I know rules are there to keep things fair and organized. Following rules at home and school helps create a space where everyone feels safe, respected, and able to do their best.
Hi, my name is Danny Code. A rule at home that I understand very well is respecting people's property and to not take things that isn't yours. Because you shouldn't be touching things or taking things that don't belong to you. And you should respect other people's property because it could be sentimental to them or you could damage it. A rule that I don't really understand at home is having to wake up early, even on a weekend, even if we don't have anything to do that day. I don't really get why we have to wake up early for no reason when we could just sleep in. Thank you.
Hello, beautiful people of Mzansi. My name is Lubanzi Shongwane. A rule that I definitely understand when it comes to school is the expectation to submit my assignments on time. It just makes sense because obviously late work does affect my marks, and it just also helps the teacher stay organized because most of the time a teacher teaches more than one grade. So me handing in my work late is kind of a huge inconvenience because they have other things and other grades to attend to. And it just teaches you a lot of skills like handling your time properly, and it makes you prepare for real life deadlines where you can't really submit your things late because if you do it can impact your life terribly. So yeah, that one I definitely understand. And also it makes sense because usually when we get an assignment or a project, we're given a set amount of time, you know. And if obviously I were to hand in my work late, that just shows my poor time management, and it shows that I just like to do things in the last minute, which is not a good habit to adapt. But one that I really do not understand is why we're not allowed to use our phones during break. Don't get me wrong, I definitely understand that phones can be a distraction. But during break, we are free. That is our time. That is our free time to cool off and to cool down from the first few lessons that we've had in the morning. Just a couple of TikToks, a couple of laughs could really help. It really could help. And a lot of adults make the argument that no, when you are on your phone, you're not communicating. Why don't you guys talk to each other? We are talking to each other. It's just not verbally. We're communicating electronically. I could send my friends the TikToks that I find funny and they would love to. We could literally be communicating. We don't have to speak to each other, you know? And also, our break is not even that long. So you can't even make the argument that we would be using our phones for a long time. It's not that long. Just to check up on your phone, I don't know, check your messages, then you will be good. That is all we're asking for. And I truly believe that if we were given a designated time like break to use our phones, you wouldn't have as many cases of finding students using their phones during class. Why? Because we've had that time. But you know, sometimes our students give us the finger, we want to take the whole hand, because sometimes even if we were to get that designated time, you still find people sneaking their phones around in class. But I don't know, I just feel like that's something that should be enforced.
Good day, everyone. My name is Yolanda Mzobe. I am 12 years old. What is the rule or expectation I have at home or school that I understand very well is clean up your mess or put things back where they belong. There is no rule I don't actually understand, but while a rule that can be confusing is often a vague subjective expectation like be respectful without specific behavioral guidelines. Thank you, everyone.
The two most important rules everyone must follow is that they should not interrupt when someone is speaking and no climbing or jumping on furniture. One rule I would change is no phone during the school days because I can still do my homework and chores and finish up, and then after that I can be able to play with my phone. Yes, I do find the rules at home very helpful because it puts order at home and it makes people listen to their parents, the children. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you have a wonderful
My
day.
name is Bonar Ahmad. The rules in my family is effective. For example, I am not allowed to make noise in the house or play in the house. The other rule is I'm not allowed to make the house look dirty. And when I'm done eating, I must put the plate on the sink. If the rules wasn't there, I would be a bad child. I would make the house look dirty, like when I'm done eating, I just throw the plate on the floor. And it was going to smell so bad and the house would look horrible. If I would add a rule, I would say don't play in cars because when a driver comes in a car, the car would be scratched and he'll be confused why the car won't start.
Thank you, friends. It's always great to hear from you. Today, we've been exploring something that shapes our everyday lives: rules and expectations. Whether you're at home, at school, with friends, or out in public, rules help guide how we behave, how we treat others, and how we keep ourselves safe. Some rules are very clear and easy to understand. Maybe you know exactly why you must do your homework before playing, why you must greet people politely, or why you shouldn't run in the corridors at school. These rules make sense because you can see how they keep you organized, respectful, and safe. They help you do your best and show responsibility. But there are a few rules you might not fully understand yet, and that's completely normal. Maybe you don't get why bedtime is early, why certain TV shows are not allowed, or why your teacher insists on silence during certain activities. Sometimes rules feel confusing because you can't see the reason right away. Other times, adults make rules based on experience, things they've learned and want to protect you from. That's why it's okay to wonder, to ask questions, and to be curious about the rules. Understanding them helps you grow and it shows that you are thinking carefully about your choices and your behavior. But here's something important, Bright Stars. Rules exist because they help us learn respect, responsibility, and kindness. When we follow rules, even the ones we don't fully understand yet, we learn how to work together, how to listen, how to stay safe, and how to make good decisions. These are skills that help us not only now, but as we grow into confident and capable adults. Rules also help create peaceful, happy environments. When everyone follows rules, our classrooms become calm places where we can learn. Our homes become warm places where everyone feels respected, and our communities become safer and more caring. So, friends, think about this: the rule you understand very well, and the one rule you still wonder about. Keep learning, keep asking, and keep following the guidelines that protect you and help you shine. Because every time you choose to listen, to follow directions, or to do the right thing, you are building a better future for yourself and for others. That's it for today, friends. See you next time.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
On the top stories, addresses media ahead of the G20 summit, and Major General Mudebe speaks at the PKTT disbandment. That's a Lambani and very good. International Relations and Cooperation Minister Ronald Lamola says the G20 summit in South Africa this weekend will be well attended. This after leaders of China, Mexico, and Argentina only sending senior officials to represent their heads of state, while the U.S. is not attending in all levels. Russia's President Vladimir Putin is still facing a warrant of arrest from the International Criminal Court. Lamola, addressing the media in Nasrec, Johannesburg, says the summit will go ahead and make pronouncements without these leaders.
Whether do we read anything to this as a snub of some sort or undermining Africa? No. We don't see this as a snub or undermining of Africa. In all multilateral platforms events, it does happen for whatever reasons that heads of states are not able to attend, and they will delegate whoever they decide to delegate. Is nothing abnormal. Even ourselves sometimes, I represent President Ramaphosa in many platforms.
The SAP's component head of the Serious and Violent Crime Division, Major General Mary Motsipe, says she did not agree with the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team in December last year. Police Minister Sanzo Mchunu, who is on leave of absence, disbanded the KwaZulu-Natal PKTT, from which 121 dockets were seized. Major General Motsepe has told the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria that the minister should have first consulted with all stakeholders.
Even if the minister had the authority to disband the PKTT, he had to first consult with all the relevant stakeholders, which would have included me as the component head responsible for serious and violent crimes. I also do not agree that the PKTT should have been disbanded before the upcoming elections. It is a well-known fact that KZN has the highest incidence of political killings, and there's usually a spike in politically motivated killings before elections.
A new lawyer that the Legal Aid Board has appointed to represent one of the three Radzuma siblings accused of killing two Samu leaders in Limpopo has withdrawn from the case. Jameson Musecho and Ronald Mani were gunned down in 2019 in an attack suspected to be related to investments in the now defunct VBS Mutual Bank. The three Radzuma siblings have been appearing in the High Court in Toyando, where they are facing 40 charges, including the killing of Musecho and Mani. Attorney Mpho Makuba cited conflict of interest to withdrew from representing Percy Radzuma. Judge Togomelani Chidada explained Makuba's decision to the accused.
It so happened that Advocate Makuba, who was appointed by the Office of the Legal Aid Toyando, has just reported to this court that through the brief consultation he held with you this morning, he established that he is also conflicted to the extent that he is unable to take over instructions in this matter to represent you legally in this trial.
Emotions ran high at the government mortuary in Bloemfontein, where bereaved families of the 10 people who died in a crash on the N8 arrived to identify their loved ones. This after a bus and heavy motor vehicle collided on the N8 between Bloemfontein and Botshabelo on Saturday morning. More than 20 people sustained injuries ranging from moderate to critical. The injured were transported to hospitals in Bloemfontein and Botshabelo. MEC for Health in the Free State, Munyatso Mahlatsi, is visiting the survivors at Pilanomi Hospital. Interstate Bus Lines says it is working closely with affected families and have appealed to those who have not located their loved ones to contact the bus line. The UN Security Council will vote on a U.S. drafted resolution advancing President Donald Trump's Gaza peace plan later today. It outlines the creation of an international stabilization force and a newly trained Palestinian police. The BBC's Yolanda Nell has the details.
There have been intense negotiations over the draft text of this Gaza resolution, with Washington warning that any vote against it could lead to a return to fighting with Israel. The draft authorizes the creation of an international stabilization force, working with Israel and Egypt, as well as newly trained Palestinian police. Part of its mandate would be to decommission weapons held by Hamas and other armed groups. A board of peace, expected to be headed by President Trump, would oversee transitional governance. Following pressure from key Arab states, the latest text mentions a possible future Palestinian state.
Recapping the top story, International Relations and Cooperation Minister Ronald Lamula says the G20 summit in South Africa this weekend will be well attended. I'm Ondilambana for SAFM News Headlines at 2:30.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
You could spend 10 minutes waiting for that video to download. Or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. SMS out to 30754. Like 57-year-old Andy, who now pays only 1,083 Rand a month for his 2024 Ford Ranger. With Outsurance Comprehensive, you get 24/7 roadside assistance in case you break down, run out of petrol, lock your keys in the car, and more. Get used to getting more out. SMS out to 30754. After switching, 48-year-old Felicity now pays only 836 Rand a month for her 2020 Hyundai Tucson. Outsurance will either save you money on your car insurance or give you cash. That's right. If Outsurance can't beat what you're currently paying, ask them for 500 Rand. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you have nothing to lose. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
The Green Eagles believe nothing will stop them from flying high with 3 points on Egyptian soil. However, the Glamour Boys want to wrap up the weekend with a special message for their fans. This is the Group D first leg contest of the CAF Confederation Cup. Catch Al Masri SC versus Kaizer Chiefs FC this Sunday, 23 November at 8 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC One. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
Reigning champions, the Reds, believe a win at Anfield always brings great euphoria to their fanatics.
They find a cross. He's down to Ekitike, and Kirkes has given Liverpool a lifeline. His first Liverpool goal, and it could be vital just before the break.
While the Trick-or-Treats are searching for a top-of-the-range strategy to defeat the Reds.
Oh, driven in by Nico Williams. Well, it may have taken Liverpool 95 minutes to break Burnley down.
This is the Premier League. Witness the thrilling contest between Liverpool FC versus Nottingham Forest on Saturday, 22 November at 4:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 3. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
This November, SAFM proudly presents the 3rd annual lecture.
I do want to say that in the public service, there are also checks and balances. The fact that people may not have applied doesn't mean it's not there.
SAFM invites you to our 3rd annual public lecture, delivered by Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, Dr. Geraldine Fraser-Muleketi. The theme of the lecture is confronting inequality, corruption and unemployment.
Let's hold everyone accountable and to standards, whether you have a GNU or not.
The lecture will take place on the 27th of November 2025 at the Indaba Hotel, Spa and Conference Center in Fourways, Johannesburg. Secure your seat by emailing us at rsvp@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
So extraordinary doesn't just happen, it's built brick by digital brick. Vodacom Business is helping to shape South Africa's businesses from scalable cloud and AI that powers smarter decisions to IoT and connectivity that bridges every gap, backed by security that you can trust. Together with business and government, Vodacom Business is building stronger industries and thriving communities, a nation ready to lead. Visit www.vodacombusiness.co.za. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Vodacom Business, further together.
Streaming Skim Sum on the way to class.
Catching the Premier League while waiting for your order.
Jamming to Metro FM before you even get out of bed.
On SABC Plus, sinayo yonke into oyifunayo. Your show, your music, your way, anytime, anywhere. Zero subscription fees.
On your phone, tablet, or smart TV.
Download SABC Plus on iOS or Google Play Store.
You could spend 10 minutes waiting for that file to download. Or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For his 2024 Ford Ranger, 57-year-old Andy now pays only 1,083 Rand a month. And for her 2020 Hyundai Tucson, 48-year-old Felicity pays just 836 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online. Summer just got extra with Vodacom's free gifts on summer deals, like the Samsung Galaxy A56 on a 1 gig red core plan for just 399 per month over 36 months. Save 1,080 and get a free Samsung charger worth 499 and Samsung Galaxy Buds Core worth 999, redeemable via Samsung Members app. Available in-store only. T's and C's apply. Further together, Vodacom.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. Easy to apply, no medical examinations, and no paperwork. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's 48031. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
At school I was falling behind. They thought I wasn't trying, bruh. Truth is, I couldn't see well, and I felt as small as the words on the board. And then, teacher came to sit with me and realized I needed glasses. Bruh, now everything's changed.
Take time to listen. With enough love and support, children don't just catch up, they thrive.
Visit holdmyhand.org.za.
Together, we can change their future.
Masandawana want to ensure that their DRC visitors have no say in Pretoria, the country's capital city. Meanwhile, the railmen are committed to a decent result away from home. This is the Group C first leg clash of the CAF Champions League. Mamelodi Sundowns FC versus FC Saint Eloi Lupopo. This Saturday, 22 November at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 2. Then on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
All right, so break time is over. They are back in session, and we are going to dip back into the Madlanga Commission. The next witness is already on the stand, Lieutenant Colonel Ndate Kumalo. And of course, we know that today the evidence is being led by Advocate Adila Hasim, who's assisted by Advocate Tabang Bowe. So let's go back into that commission. And this should run us throughout the afternoon, but we'll see how it goes because sometimes there's some unexpected breaks as witnesses want to sort out some issues or advocates want to address some things. But if it runs through until the very top of the hour, then the next voice that you'll ultimately hear on the station will be that of Ashraf as it comes through at 3 o'clock.
And one will make example as I continue with my testimony. Secondly, the heat orderers, they go as far as paying the hitmen in order for them not to implicate them. There's instances whereby we are able to detect that the hitmen can't afford a certain attorney, and you will find that the hit orderer then pay the legal fees of the suspect if the accused is being arrested, and taking care of the family. so long as he is still under custody. The worst one is when these heat orderers start to threaten the witnesses. And most of the time you find the witnesses recanting from the original statement that they submitted. Or you go and you get bystanders and they will tell you straight, I didn't see anything, because they fear for their life. The second point that I want to point is at some instances you will find that the motive of killing of these victims is frequently intersect with other criminal offenses. Commissioners, in this point, I'm actually highlighting the fact that sometimes you'll find that the motive after we investigate, because first thing first that we try to do is to determine what is the motive. Why is victim killed? Because that is going to answer and give you clues going forward with your investigation. One then saw that at some instances you find someone is a politician, but at the same time is a taxi owner. Therefore, as investigation unveil, you'll find that the motive is not politically related, but taxi-related violence. But now one asks, why then are you investigating this case? There's a criteria that was approved on which cases, if we say this is a politically related cases, you investigate. One, if a member is a card-carrying member of, official card-carrying member of a political party, a former card-carrying member of a political party, a municipality official bearer, all those people, they fall under the category of saying these are politicians, these are people that the PKTT should investigate their cases. Therefore, the fact that the motive is not talking to the political related, it bears no reason for the team not to investigate. The bottom line is that the victim is a political affiliated member. That's one. Two, one of the investigation that we picked up during the traditional leaders cases, we realized that most of the Inkosis, Ndunas, and Isolenkosi will get involved in criminal activities. There's criminal activities that you find that there is livestock stolen or forcefully taken from their lawful owners. Daylight, you find people coming and opening the kraal and take your livestock. And that is called in the northern KZN, called iskepe. That's how they term it. Why they came with that, it's only them that knows, but they take your livestock daylight. And the other reason you find that there's issues of land dispute. And you find that the Induna is selling land, but then through someone, and that particular person, before he sell the land to individuals, he will put his interest, and then A goes to Induna and say, but then you said this land is so much, and your 2IC sold it to me for so much, and that then starts to create conflict and results in death. The third point, one should stress, commissioners, that the dockets that have been allocated to PKTT is dockets that have already, especially the political related ones, already been open and registered from the police station, respective police station. PKTT was covering the whole of KwaZulu-Natal policing or province. And one then asked, how do you get this particular docket to PKTT? There was a process that was tabled and agreed upon. Immediately when the docket is open and registered, and the station feels that this is politically, because they will be the first respondents, they feel this is politically related, or the person is a politician or an office bearer of a municipality, they will then transfer the docket to the district commissioner. The district commissioner will transfer this particular docket to the provincial head, and then the provincial head, the docket is transferred to the deputy provincial commissioner crime detection, who then will liaise with the PKTT. At the PKTT, we had one person that we nominated as the Nadal Point branch, the tactical commander for detective, which is our branch commander, who will be the one that goes and collect the dockets, sign for them, come with them, sit down with the docket, and then we start analyzing the docket. But these dockets, I must say that sometimes you'll find the oldest docket of 2016. Therefore, if you get a docket of 2016 in 2019, sometimes 2020, there's quite a lot of information or evidence that has already been tampered with. There's quite a lot of hands that dealt with that docket. Therefore, to sit down with us and we start unpacking the docket, it's very difficult. I should maybe also mention that that's where you'll find that when you go back and try and interview the witnesses and see if whatever they said 2-3 years back, they will be consistent with that. And witness will tell you that I've lost interest. I don't want to continue with that. And that makes our job difficult. But despite that, we continue persuading, because our aim is to solve the matters. And then the fourth point, commissioners.
Now in paragraph 6.
I think yes, I've covered that. And then I will move to point number 5, which is the last point, whereby I want to emphasize that the significant risk associated with this investigation. One should mention that the hitmen used in these killings sometimes are sourced out from taxi industries, from security companies, and so forth. Because I recall at some point, General Kumalo made an example of a certain firearm that was sliced, and the firearm belonged to a certain municipality, and municipalities, because they had securities that was guarding the premises and so forth. Therefore, there's firearms that we took and others linked and so forth. From security companies. And secondly, you find that the hit orderers, it's people that are financially muscled. And it's easy for them to buy anyone in order for them not to come forth and give evidence against them. Hitmen, sometimes they take fall on behalf of the hit orderers in order to protect. And lastly, the chain of this organogram is long. For instance, you will get hit order. Sometimes it's not one hit orderers, they are together, 2 or 3, because they've got one common objective. You get a coordinator. Coordinator can be divided into 2. Coordinator that knows the hitman, coordinator that will deal with resources, because sometimes hitmen, they don't come with resources. They tell you that for me to execute this job, you need to give me firearms. You need to get me vehicles. And others will say, I come with my firearms, but whatever that you charge me will be double. It's a profession to them. That's what we are trying to dismantle as PKTT. And you also get spotters, people that will spot the victim, where he goes, what time, what vehicle is he driving, who is he traveling with. it's not a once-off thing. The operation can take a month up until they get the movement of the victim in accordance to time and so forth. Then you will get your driver, person that is only hired to drive. Make sure that after the shooting, you just drive. Then you get your hitman. Therefore, that's how we crafted our organogram as we continue with investigating these cases, that this is how and the patterns of these killings happening. I think I've...
And finally, you say in paragraph 6, the final reason you talk about the complicated nature of these cases and these dockets is the threat to the investigating officers. Do you want to say something about that?
Yes, commissioners. Sometimes you find that the same people which wanted or ensured that the victim is no more or is being assassinated, if they see that the team is closing to them, they will then try and come for the investigator. If not, the docket, because they know that if we mess up with the docket, there won't be clear evidence to link us. If we capture or we ensure that we take the investigator, then we are certain that we are safe. Therefore, that's when then we decided that combat needs to be with the team, and that is going to assist in protecting the investigators, including the docket, that you safeguard this docket, you safeguard the investigators. Nothing happens to these two item and a human being.
The docket and the investigator.
An investigator.
And you've had experience of the team being ambushed in the past.
Indeed. Perhaps people might even think that why using National Intervention Unit, because they are highly trained? Why using Tactical Response Team, because they are highly trained? They could go out there and fight the crime. Whatever that they are doing in PKTT, they are fighting the crime. In the past 7 years that I've been with the PKTT, we have experienced 3 attacks. But in those 3 attacks, I thank God even today that there were no casualties. The first one happened in 2019 when our team was traveling from southern side of the KZN, where they were investigating politically related cases, and they came under fire at night. They were able to survive that, even though 2 of them, they were shot, but at the lower part of their bodies. The second one and the third, they happened actually in the same month. This was in 2022, December. The first one happened in Phoenix. The team was busy with the observation, and shockingly so, the victim in this followed the team up until the team reached a garage. And when they were at the garage, the victim started opening fire on our members. It was 4 members of the PKTT. And luckily, they managed to neutralize the victim, which is normal. The third incident, on that one as well, 2 of our members, 3 members were shot, but luckily no fatalities. On the third one, which is a bizarre one, the team was busy with investigation at Masinga, and as they left the police station, going up the mountains of Masinga, a vehicle started following them, and they could see that this vehicle is following them. And they accelerated, but the vehicle continued to accelerate up until they arrived at a certain point, and the passenger drew a firearm, a pistol, and started shooting at the members. Members were able to return fire, and 2 of them were shot, but then not fatally. One incident that could be drawn, and it's a proven fact, is that on all three attacks, commissioners, a hand of a police officer was detected. The matter of 2019, there was an R5 that was used. R5 is carried or allocated to police SAPS. And then on the other two, definitely the member that shot our PKT members at Phoenix, he was a member of SAPS. On the one of Masinga, which I said bizarre, the driver of the suspect vehicle was a police officer. The passenger was a member of the public. And that's the member of the public that actually drew a firearm and shot at our members. And then when we conducted the investigation, the firearm he shot us with, it's a police firearm. That means a police officer handed the firearm to a member of the public to shoot them. So out of all this, because of combat being part and parcel of the team, we were able to win that particular attacks. So far, we know that police are being attacked and police are dying. Maybe one should make an example of detectives that were traveling with a suspect in Gauteng, and I think it's 2-3 months back. And then the particular suspect from court, how he managed to get the firearm and shoot and kill the two police officers, we don't know. But then for us to have a combat, we try by all means to avoid such. Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, so very high risk involved in the dockets that the PKTT investigates, is what you're saying.
Very high, and the attacks come in different ways. And there's quite high profile firearms that are being used. The teams are traveling far, wherever they are based. Sometimes they travel about 500 kilometers to a particular crime scene and back. Therefore, you can imagine all type of terrains they are coming, driving through, and the exhaustions and all that. And that's where your enemy actually will strike. But then with combat, and we made it a clear point that combat, you don't drive, so that you can always be alert on the road.
Okay, thank you. All right, so, and
can I just ask, Colonel, this which you are describing, the risk that confronts the PKTT investigators, is it something that is unique to the PKTT because of the way in which you work and the kind of cases that you handle? That's the one possibility. And the other is that even those detectives who do, in KZN, who do murder and robbery, which is not political killings, for example, may well face the same risk on a daily basis as they go about doing their work. Which one is it?
I will talk mainly on PKTT because I haven't been in murder and robbery and so. PKTT, one knows that most of the time you find that there's political element involved, and therefore I don't think there's any politician that will want to allow his career go down the drain easily. Therefore, to deal with this PKTT all the way out of his way, and you know that he save his career, will be the business of the day. And they know very well that whenever PKTT deals with a certain target, they don't let go up until they get to the bottom of it. Therefore, in essence, they will try everything in their powers in order to protect themselves from a distance. Because others, it's scary tactics that when we do this, they might not come for us. Therefore, I wouldn't say much or dwell much on the serious and violence crime, if there is such attacks on them. But then looking at the statistics of how the police are being attacked, one can't rule that out as well. Thank you, Commissioner.
So it's not unique to the PKTT, but you're speaking about the specific experience of the PKTT.
Indeed, Commissioner.
Okay, so you then deal with the issue, you talk about multidisciplinary approach to investigations, but I think you've already explained that
Yes.
at the outset of your evidence. Can we rather go to paragraph 9, where you speak more practically about the way in which the team investigates? Can you summarize paragraph 9 for the commissioners?
Okay, thank you, commissioners. First and foremost, as I alluded that the cases, sometimes you find that they are old cases. The moment we get the docket, we sit down with all disciplines, all pillars. We sometimes, or as I remember at some point, the project coordinator, then Lieutenant General Kumalo, will call it Isambonyani, meaning we come together. Here is a cow head, and let's see how we enjoy it. We will take statement by statement and analyze it thoroughly. We look at all angles. You take a statement, you've got your call data analyst, you're sitting with your operational analyst, you're sitting with your digital forensic investigator, which is the DFI, you're sitting with your DFO, designated firearm officer, and including then myself, which is combat commander, because at the end of the day, I'm a police officer. I might see things that they don't see. Therefore, we will look at all the statements. If there is things like your call data, vehicle tracker, you sit with statement, you sit with call data, you see what is this person saying versus the call data. Do the two corroborate each other? You're sitting next to the statement, there is a vehicle, a tracker vehicle. Then you look at it, this person says, on the 25th of January, he was in Pretoria. But the tracker is actually placing him in KwaZulu-Natal. Is this person telling us the truth or not? Let's check who was driving the vehicle on the day. You take the call data and you check the call data based on the vehicle, based on what is saying in the statement. And these three needs to talk the same language. We follow on exhibits. Where is the exhibit? They were collected, they were submitted at, be it ballistic, at lab, at question documents, and so forth, or scientific. All these disciplines will sit and we then see how are we going to solve this case. During that process, commissioners, we have projected, because the nice thing, as I said, in Tlogo Yenkom, you have projected. We're projecting this statement. Whatever that tasking we're generating out of that, it's typed. It's also shown on the screen. Therefore, each and everything that we are doing is going to be followed through via our weekly or daily activities, which we call them the taskings. Therefore, all the capabilities of the PKTT sitting together are able to generate taskings, and follow-ups will be done. What was important is that we then created what we call past 24 hours and next 24 hours. If we give you a tasking today in the morning, We expect within 24 hours we will get the feedback of such. And that feedback, at the TAGJOC, you have same structure with TAGJOC commander, branch commander, detective, analyst, and so forth. They go and implement what we discussed at MAJOC level together. And every morning they send those taskings to MAJOC. MAJOC sits, and then we monitor. We have groups where we check. If we see that what we agreed upon that you go and meet B, why are you starting with A? We said start with B because we picked up that there is some element that were not included on B statement. Put A on standby, go to B first. So all that helped in ensuring that our investigation flows.
So practically what you've described now and in your paragraph 9 is this teamwork approach to the investigations. That seems to be quite a central theme. Is all of the different experts coming together to detect and investigate. Am I right on that?
Indeed, commissioners, that assisted a lot because bringing together all these experts were able, because whenever a tasking that comes up for a certain discipline, that particular member that knows that I need to run with this and be able to account the following day.
So you paint a picture that's quite impressive. Are there never delays in the investigation of these dockets?
Our monitoring tool of the daily tasking compels you to comply with the instruction, because when you are giving a tasking, it's sort of an instruction that go, obtain 1, 2, 3. Commissioners, I must say that sometimes it will be difficult because you find that the members are sitting at court because the matter that they are attending, there's a court appearance. Immediately after that, those members, they are not going back to TAGJOC. They must continue with the case that is under investigation. And to secure appointments and so forth, other people will tell you that it's 1,600 hours. I'm not there and all that. But to me, as a commander sitting there, I'll tell you that I want my statement. How you get it? See to it. I've given you resources. I've given you a vehicle. I'm protecting you. I've gave you tasking. I want the feedback. Therefore, turnaround time was of importance to us because we knew that PKT is not a permanent structure. Therefore, we need to work with speed in each and every docket we're dealing with. We have limited detectives with plus 300 politically related cases. Therefore, at some point, we were giving ourselves 2-3 weeks, if not a month, to finalize a case so that it can move from under investigation to court going. And I must say, at a later stage, I will give example of such, that particular instruction was attained as cases were investigated. There's a case that was investigated within 7 days. And the following Monday, it was at court. That shows the dedication and the instrumental part of having all the disciplines sitting together. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. So if we can go to paragraph 11, and particularly the last sentence of paragraph 11, you talk about the prosecutor-guided investigations, or these sessions, these PGI sessions that you'd hold. And you refer to verbal instructions. Can you just explain for the Commission how that works, how it would be that there would be verbal instructions on a docket from the prosecutors? So it's your last sentence in paragraph 11. The last two sentences, pardon me.
Paragraph 11. Okay, no, thank you, Commissioners. As our approach also involved other departments and its prosecutional analysis-led investigation. Time and again, because I recall very well that at some point we will have a month, almost every month we will have a PGI. PGI is prosecutional guided investigation, whereby team will sit together with the prosecutors that are dedicated, because we were given serious and violence crime prosecutors that were dealing with us. And during our sessions, they will guide and give advice on how to go with the investigation. And some of the tasking will obviously be put on the slide, our tasking slide, and others, the prosecutors will tell us, or sometimes you find that the teams, after we have met and given the report on a new case that it was allocated to the PKTT, when the investigation is almost complete, we will go and brief the prosecutors. And the prosecutors will look and give guidance there and there. After that, the prosecutor and the tag job commanders will then time and again interact. And that's where sometimes you find that the prosecutors will give verbal instruction to the team that go and obtain this statement. And when you have obtained it, let me know. If possible, give me a summary of the statement. Sometimes prosecutors will make comments on the docket, or after we have had our PGI, they will request for those particular dockets that we brief them on, so that the leader of the team that is dedicated to us will go and read the docket so that he can be able to then allocate them to the prosecutors that are relevant to the cases.
And you say these sessions with the prosecutors, or I suppose even what you were describing before, where the team sits to analyze a docket.
Yes.
That would not be written into the investigation diary, the C-clip or the SAP5.
Maybe one should, commissioners, put this out, that a docket is divided in sections. You've got a cover docket, you've got the A clip, the B clip, and the C clip. Where the senior counsel is referring to as SAP5, it's attached on the C clip. That's where you write the activities of what is happening on the docket. That, it's merely an investigator's space. The investigator, branch commander, and sometimes a commander, they are the ones who are writing there, and the prosecutor. Because the moment the docket goes to the prosecutor, he needs to endorse if he wants to, if he will give instruction, or he will write the email to the team. The moment the docket goes to court, after court, the prosecutor, if he's having some queries, he will write those queries, it comes back, or he's there at court with the investigator, he will give those directives. There's no way that a call data analyst, for instance, can take that and write on the SAP5. There's no way that an LCRC member can take that docket and write on the SAP5.
What's LCRC?
LCRC, it's a local record criminal center. This is a system that is used to save the evidence that is found at a crime scene for easy reference, or in case if this docket, for instance, if it can go to another team, a particular IO will just go into the system and be able to get.
Let me pause you there. I really just wanted you to define LCRC for the commissioners, but I'd interrupted you. You were saying that it would be only the investigating officer that makes entries into the
SAP5.
SAP5.
Yes.
So other investigation, well, I don't even know if you'd call it, you can tell me, other work that's done by analysts, other investigative work, would not necessarily be recorded in the C-clip.
It will not be reported, but then from the methodologies that we applied, we will have our own tasking list,
You have
which
a
were, yes, that are on the site.
Yes. Okay. So
if I have only the docket, are you saying in the docket I will not get information about your forensic analysts? It won't tell me what work they have done or they are doing. The same with your ballistic expert. Will that not be in the docket itself?
No, Commissioner. The information will be on the docket, but who will have written that information is the detective, not an analyst or an expert.
But effectively, there's a lag, LAG, not LEG, between your taskings, the progress you are making in terms of those taskings, and what's contained in the docket. The result of the taskings, of course, will, I assume, eventually get into the docket, or find its way into the docket.
In our instance,
yes,
others are there. Others, you'll find that they are not there, but there is those records that are kept in our archives on the tasking list. Thank you, Commissioner.
But what I think the chair is asking you is that there'd be a lag, there'd be a space of time between the activities and the taskings that result in something concrete that goes into the docket.
No, definitely, Commissioner.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. So now that all, again, to me, sounds quite complex, and it sounds like these dockets would have, so it's a combination of what's physically in the dockets, but also what's in the minds of the investigator and in the PKTT, etc. What does that mean for the way in which the dockets are transferred? And if we could now start heading towards that part of your evidence, the handover of dockets. What does what you've just described, what does it mean for the way in which the dockets must be transferred?
I think in that way, commissioners, if the process is being given enough time, ample time, the receiver will get full information. In this sense, the PKTT IOs will definitely draw all the taskings and compare them with the SAP5 if the SAP5 it's updated. If not, they can make copies of such, attach them on the SAP5. It will also be imperative for the during the handing over that the other party be present and have ample time to go through the docket and get full explanation on why there is this statement on the A clip, whereas it's not indexed on the C clip. That explanation can be there. But in this instance, with PKTT, one must say that the handing over was messy.
Before we start the handover, I just want to ask you, as a member of the PKTT for 7 years, what was the impact of the decision of 31st December 2024 on the members of the PKTT? Were you informed? Were you aware that it was coming? Were you informed beforehand, or were you informed afterwards? How did you come to learn of it?
The 1st of December one is thinking of family, of having good time and so forth. We never had such luxury anyway in PKTT. We were working. When we came across the letter on social media, I think from the 98 members then that were with the team, all of them were accessing or having accessible access to the social media. Neither of them was at the age whereby he'll say, no, I'm not a social media person. Therefore, commissioners, it struck everyone it was like a lightning. And me, as the major commander, I was receiving all these phone calls. And first thing first that came into my mind is how I'm going to address these members. Because this says with immediate effect. It's the 31st of December. We have already submitted the financial documents for January. And there comes this letter. And I first took a phone and phoned the project coordinator because one of my roles as the major commander was to liaise, be a liaising officer between the team, the project coordinator, which is General Kumalo, and obviously accounting at the same time to the Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Mkonazi. But my immediate commander then, it was Lieutenant General Kumalo as the project coordinator. I phoned him and I said, Mpati, ngibone enye into la. Kwenze njani? And he said, Kumalo, I'm sure guys you are shocked. But address the members and tell them that we are dealing with this matter. We don't know how this letter came about because there was no official communication with us. We perhaps think this is not true. Therefore, I then called the commanders because I felt like let me first talk to the commanders and they go and talk to the members. If the members still don't understand, that's when I will call the whole team. And the comments that I heard from the commanders were not nice. They were, it damaged them. It left scars. Because there were cases that were remanded beginning of January. There were cases that were on the trial stage. Other members, they were out working on the 31st when this letter surfaced. And if you are sitting with a person of interest, you're sitting with a witness and he sees this, it tells you straight away that and you're trying to contain yourself as a member, but you are unable because this person keeps on saying these things.
Please translate that.
Please get away because there's no business that bring you to be here because this person is referring to this letter. But then I kept on, commissioners, keeping the members abreast in terms of what is happening between head office and myself in terms of communication and if we are leaving or we are not leaving because General Kumalo put it clear that stay on put while we're addressing the matter. Members were, morale was down. They couldn't take it. Up until, maybe I should extend it, that I even suggested to General Kumalo that, General, could I coordinate that members perhaps get EHW, which is an employee of wellness, to come and address them. Because they didn't take it nicely. And General said, before you go there, I will request the provincial commissioner to come and address the team. And indeed, on the 10th of January, General Mkwanazi, it's unfortunate I wasn't there, General Mkwanazi went and addressed the members. And he assured them that you are soldiers on the ground, continue doing policing, investigating by preventing and combating crime. We at the executive level will attend to the letter.
Okay, thanks.
It was not a nice feeling, I must say, Commissioners. Thank you, Anna.
The handover, what you're about to turn to, begins on 25 March. Does that mean between 31 December and the impact you've described and 25 March, the work continued, the work of the PKTT continued?
In between these dates, the instruction that I got from General Kumalo was that continue working, but you aren't doing any investigation. You'll only monitor the court-going cases. These are cases that were either at court for bail application, for trial, pre-trial, and so forth. That is what we were supposed to monitor. All the targets that were under investigation, we were not touching them. There's only one matter which I received a call via General Mkwanazi that there is suspects that were arrested under the district of Ilembe, and they are talking about their involvement in the killing of a certain politician and all that. I then dispatched a team to go and interview these particular two suspects, who later confessed, and they deposed the confession statement in that regard through an independent officer that is not attached with the PKTT on their involvement, and their firearms that were recovered were sent to ballistic, and they subsequently linked with other 3 cases of which they confessed on those targets, on those cases. So that was the only case that during that time we went and picked up, and within 2-3 days, I think, okay, let me say in a space of a week, we were able to place all these matters at court, because at first they appeared with possession of unlicensed firearm. And as they continue and confessing on the other crimes that they committed, and then within a space of a week, we were able to place all these matters at court. Therefore, that was the last case under investigation that we dealt with. Other than that, whatever that we were investigating, it was the continuous investigation from the directives of the prosecutor on the matters that are already at court.
To have been his lover at that time, civic group Boang Basadi has also thrown its weight behind Malosi's family. Sichakane has been in jail since his arrest last year. All his previous attempts to get bail failed in the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court. Poland's Prime Minister has described an explosion that damaged a railway line used to deliver aid to Ukraine as an unprecedented act of sabotage. Donald Tusk says the sabotage directly targeted the security of the Polish state. The BBC's Paul Moss has the details.
It was, Donald Tusk said, a confirmation of their worst fears. Photographs show a whole section of railway missing on Poland's Warsaw to Lublin train line. The result, the Prime Minister said, of an unprecedented act of sabotage. Poland had warned that this particular line is crucial for supplying aid to Ukraine and was therefore a potential target. It's also accused Russia of using cyber attacks and arson against Poland, claims which Russia has denied.
Recapping the top story, International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamula says South Africa will not again allow any flights carrying undocumented Palestinians willing to enter the country with the view that they seek to apply for refugee status. I'm on Delambada for SFM News Headlines at 3:30.
In sports this hour, Springboks 2026 Nations Championship opponents confirmed and public internet VAR model wins favour with South African delegations. More details at 3:30.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, Think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 Rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
This November, SAFM proudly presents the 3rd annual lecture.
I do want to say that in the public service, there are also checks and balances. The fact that people may not have applied doesn't mean it's not there.
SAFM invites you to our 3rd annual public lecture, delivered by Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, Dr. Geraldine Fraser Muleketi. The theme of the lecture is confronting inequality, corruption and unemployment.
Let's hold everyone accountable and to standards, whether you have a GNU or not.
The lecture will take place on the 27th of November 2025 at the Indaba Hotel, Spa and Conference Center in Four Ways, Johannesburg. Secure your seat by emailing us at rsvp@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.